Hey y'all, good morning. You best wake your hind end up because it's time to go fishing, y'all. That sun is up through the trees over there. I done been out here this morning getting things going for us. So we carp fishing today, y'all. We in a backwater creek system here in East Tennessee. And I got out here this morning and about 30 minutes ago, baited up, cast it out. I just a few minutes ago baited up, reeled everything in, baited up and cast out again, just so we got plenty of bait out there, plenty of scent in the water. One thing about, in this video today, we're going unedited, raw and uncut. Y'all, my fishing partners out here this morning on what's gonna be a hot, miserable, humid day, so it's gonna be a short trip. We're gonna try to catch our fish early and let Mother Nature bake this place all day long, man. It's that time of year, y'all, it's hot. What I wanted to do, come out here this morning, first thing, get some scent in the water here, and then when y'all finally show up and ready to fish, then we'll turn the camera on and get going. Because sometimes these carp trips, I've talked about this before, I'm gonna put the camera here in the chest so y'all can see everything. As far as my baits and rigs and all that, I'll show you all that once we reel in the first fish here. As we rebait, I'll go over this stuff. But one thing about the carp fishing that I have learned is that sometimes it takes a little while to get that first bite. When you're working through the shallow waters, like this is just 3 foot deep, maybe 4 foot deep. Look right here, we got one. Something gave that line right there a little tug. This went slack a little bit, ain't it? Let's see if we can tighten that up a little bit. But sometimes you come through this shallow water and I think it spooks the fish. And so I tried my best when I come in this creek. I come from this direction. I tried hanging over here best I could. That way, areas out here where I was gonna be casting baits, I wouldn't be running over the top of them fish. But still it takes, is this rod? Here we go, buddy. Here we go, we're hooked up. Boy, boy, I timed it right, man. I timed it right, y'all. I was trying to say, let's get this fish in. Let's see what we got here. This was the one rig that I don't have a worm on. I've got 2 rigs with night crawlers, pack bait and night crawlers, and I've got one with just pack bait and plastic corn. And that was this one. But I had seen a carp over there just a little while ago. I had seen him come up and breach the surface, and so then I knew it was time to start the video. Because what I'm wanting to do, like I said, when you come through an area first thing, you spook some fish in the shallow water, and it takes a while for them to come back. And sometimes it takes 30 minutes to an hour to get that first fish, to get them turned on, get them feeding. And I thought today, I'm gonna try out, instead of turning the camera on just as soon as I get on the water, and y'all on these unedited videos having to wait 30 minutes to an hour for that first bite, I thought I'm gonna bait up, cast out, sit here for about 30 minutes, and then turn the camera on, so hopefully it would speed things along as far as the action goes. So y'all have showed up at the right time. Y'all finally got here on the water. You've showed up at the perfect time to just get things going in a hurry here. I feel like it should be reversed. Y'all get on the water early and I'll show up when it's time to catch fish. That would be better for me, but whatevs, we're gonna roll with it. This thing here, he's going around the world, man. He's just swimming all the way here behind me. I guess we'll just land him on this side of the kayak if he wants to come around this way. Don't matter to me what side he gets landed on. Boy, I got a feeling he's gonna act out. He started fighting hard, and since then he's just been kind of just leisurely swimming through here. You coming over here, carp, it's time. Oh, my line's got him in the fin. Has he got the He's got the hook in the mouth and my line's in his fin. Oh, there he goes. He saw that net and wasn't happy, buddy. If we ever get this thing landed here, I'll kind of give you the rundown of why we're fishing here. Oh. I'm a terrible net man. Y'all could help me out. You're being a lousy fishing partner right now. Oh, he's wrapping around the power pole. Go the other way. There he goes, okay. Boy, this thing he's got his second wind here. It's a pretty good fish. Not bad for fish number one. I've had to wait for him. Oh, he's back there on my rudder too. This dang fish. Oh my gosh, he's in my rudder. There he comes. He's back over here by the power pole. But fish, why don't you go the other direction? There, get it. Oh, I missed him in that net again. You're getting in that net, fish. There we go. He just drenched me. Boy, ornery fish, man. That's a good one though, man. That is a nice fish. Fish number one, man. Just a couple minutes into the trip for y'all, about 30 for me. With this one, buddy, yes. On the rig with the hot pink corn and no worm on it. Got that back. I'll tell you what, since this is fish number one, let me put y'all up here. Boy, he got something on the lens, didn't he? He still got something on the lens. We're rolling with it. Y'all take a picture of this fish for me, would you? Do something for me here today. Okay, carp, calm it down now. We're gonna act like somebody and get a picture together, okay? Uh-huh. Nice, man. Number one's pretty good fish right there. You are an odd fight though, fish. Very odd fight. He did not want to come in that net, did he? Get out of here then. Whoa. All right, y'all, timed it perfectly there. Like I said, these carp trips, sometimes it'll take 30 minutes to an hour to get that first fish. And I was like, today I'm gonna try to time it. I considered on these unedited videos waiting till we get the first bite, then turning the camera on. But I thought, it's been 30 minutes. I saw one breach the surface out there a few minutes ago. So I said, I'm gonna reel everything in, rebait, cast back out, then we'll turn the camera on. And it worked out today, didn't it? Sometimes a plan comes together, as old Hannibal. I love it when a plan comes together. That's what Hannibal said. Those of you at least old enough to remember the A-Team anyway have heard that. I gotta do this. Whatever that is gonna drive me nuts. Okay, it's gone now. Let's get our power poles reset where I shifted my weight. Okay, so now let me show you my bait and rig and all that. If you're new to my channel, new to my carp trips, welcome, glad to have you. This here is my rig. It's a method feeder, just a cheapo Amazon special wire and coil. I've got a number 6 size hook, a few inches below it. Got a couple pieces of plastic corn. This is hot pink colored on this one, on a hair rig. So we're gonna put some pack bait on this. A little moldy from my trip to Ohio. This has been baking in the car for a week. I had tried to do some carp fishing and buffalo fishing in Hoover Reservoir when I went up there on a trip and got completely skunked. Didn't catch anything. So I had all this bait that I had made and I just left it in the car. So out here today, I'm back home in Tennessee today. And so we're gonna just use it. It's, you know, a little bit moldy in there. It's got some penicillin growing in it. These fish can cure an infection while they eat. But nevertheless, they'll eat it. So anyway, there it is, basically dough ball there on that feeder. We're going to cast it out, and when it hits the water, it will start to break down and create a little chum pile, which will just put off scent in the water. Those carp will move in, and buffalo will move in to eat those crumbs and the corn and the pack bait, and then they will get our hook bait as well. So that pack bait, it's a recipe I've been using for a while now. Got it off the Catfish and Carp channel, but it works well, and so I keep using it. But it's panko breadcrumbs, strawberry jello, it's got golden sweet corn, and then cream style corn in there. And like I said, it works, and it's easy to make, it's cheap to make, and so I keep doing it. And we're gonna hopefully get on several fish out here this morning before it gets so damn hot. We gotta get off the water. But, so that rig there, you all just seen it. These other two rigs, the exact same, with the exception, instead of pink corn, we've got yellow corn, and these other two rods have on night crawlers on the hook as well. They're just these Canadian night crawlers. I got just a whole night crawler on the hook. And the reason I did that is my last carp session before I went to Ohio. So regular viewers, it's been a little while, but you've seen that carp session. I caught on a bunch of buffalo here, man. It was the best buffalo trip that I had ever had, at least numbers wise. I mean, it was one buffalo after another. It was awesome. But they were eating these night crawler rigs. The buffalo, I had one tub of night crawlers, and the buffalo, we went through that whole tub. I was just catching so many, ran out of night crawlers, just had the corn on the rig, started catching carp. So I said, I want to come back out and see if they're still here, and see if, just put some more night crawlers out, see what happens. So we'll see. We'll see. It's that rod and that rod that has the night crawlers on. So we'll see what happens here today with that. But yeah, I'm back home in Tennessee, my Ohio trip. Now let me tell you this here too, before I go into telling you a bunch of stories. I got stories to tell from this Ohio trip, man. Some crazy stuff be happening up there. But anyway, this creek that we're in, very shallow. Our baits are out there maybe 3 feet deep, 4 feet deep. This creek has no flow in it, so we're kind of just dependent upon fish moving through and finding our baits. There's no flow out here, there's no wind blowing, it's just no water movement whatsoever. Is that rod getting a little tap? Something maybe after that night crawler. So we really need fish to work through, but these backwater creek systems here in Tennessee, there's all kinds of carp and buffalo just roaming around here, eating and whatnot. So hopefully we're gonna have some here this morning. I've set up where I have because we're shielded from the sun with these trees. We got a little bit of shade here, which we're gonna need as it gets real hot real fast today. It's summer in East Tennessee, man. So that's the motivation for setting up here where we're at. We got somebody in a boat down there camping and whatnot as this rod's getting a little tap on the night crawler. Could this be sunfish or something? Bluegill tapping on that worm maybe. But anyway, y'all, we're gonna put in some time here, and hopefully as more fish work through and as we keep casting back out, putting out more scent, we're gonna tear them up today, is what I'm hoping. I hope we really, that last session I did here was pretty daggone awesome. I've never caught that many buffalo in a trip before. Didn't get my PB or anything. I mean, it wasn't like I was catching huge buffalo, but just numbers wise, it was pretty awesome. So we're gonna try it again today. I'm trying to rebound, trying to get some redemption from where I carp fished there in Ohio and got completely skunked. I mean, couldn't sniff a bite. I tried to carp fish there on Hoover Reservoir, and just, I've heard there's big carp in there, I've heard there's big buffalo in there. I've never seen hide nor hair of any of them. Hard times up there, man, hard times. But I went up there to Ohio. I fished one day on Sandusky Bay, got some catfish, got some channel cats, some of them pretty big channel cats too. I then went down to Hoover because I got a tournament coming up on Hoover, and I wanted to kind of piddle around, try to get a plan for that tournament. And unfortunately, you ain't gonna see no catfish video. Not only are you not gonna see a carp video from Hoover, you ain't gonna see no catfish video from Hoover either, because I only caught 4 catfish up there, and they weren't big. They were like 4 small catfish. So I'm not gonna be rolling into that tournament with a lot of confidence. I'm almost hoping the weather's gonna be bad, so I'll have an excuse not to go. But nevertheless, the Ohio trip, it was interesting. But I got home and I had to take a little break. All that riding in the car, spending the extra time in the kayak, like it just takes its toll on me as I get older. I get all stove up and stuff. Can't sit in a kayak or a car as long as what I used to could, so I took a little break, got my yard mowed and everything around the house there, got it. So I'm kind of sniffly today because I was breathing in all that dust out there yesterday. But I said, I want to get out here today. I want to see if these buffalo are still here. There was something right over there, a bigger breach of the surface. But I said, I'm in the mood, man. I want to get out here. I want to fish. I want to see what we can get. If something's... I told you, man, when I saw that carp breach of surface, I said, it's time to turn on the camera. And then we got that one. So I think we're here in that time period. If I spook those fish coming down through here, hopefully they've forgotten about it. They're back to normal. I didn't really run over that area anyway that we got our baits in, so. When that rod right there gets tapped a little bit, it could just be a bluegill on the worm, but when that one moves around, because there is no worm, we know there was something. Carp or buffalo or something over there with that one. I don't know why the hell I'm standing up right now. I'm gonna sit down and take a load off as we wait on these fish to come. But yeah, we're gonna go unedited today. That's pretty much what I'm doing video-wise these days. I'm enjoying this style, and it seems to be pretty popular with y'all. My views have never been higher on this channel, so we're just gonna roll with it. We'll sit out here, catch us fish for a few hours. I'm probably gonna fish probably 3 or 4 more hours. Ooh, I saw a buffalo out there. I saw him come up and breach the surface. I saw his back. I was looking that way when he come up. But yeah, we're gonna fish till it gets hot, which won't take long, and then Mother Nature can just bake this place today, and we'll be at home in the air condition. But I'm hoping we're gonna catch a bunch of fish though in the meantime. I'm actually gonna go ahead and put on my shades too while I'm at it. But yeah, we'll sit out here, we'll catch some fish together. I'm gonna tell you some stories. I've had some interesting things happen. I've had a new Ohio people experience while I was up there on my trip, and this one, it kind of blows my mind. My regular viewers know I'm not a people person at all. Like I'm pretty antisocial. I'm really the wrong type of person to be doing YouTube. Like how I've lasted this long on YouTube is mind-boggling with how little I enjoy people. I mean, how do you make it on social media without being social? I don't know, but that's how I am. I can sit out here and talk to this camera and converse all morning long, but to do this with an actual person, like in person, face to face, like I'd be mentally exhausted. It's tough to explain, but anyway, as antisocial as I am, I may have found somebody in Ohio that was even less social than me. I'll just get right into that story. It's where I got another story too about some cops up there. I think y'all gonna find this. If you don't know about this, and I don't know how you would know about it, I got some inside knowledge because I know a cop up there and I talked to him. And I was mind blown by this. But anyway, we'll get into that here shortly. But first, let me tell you what happened to me with the human interaction. So my trips, I drove up on a Monday. Oh, hang on. We gotta run. We gotta run on here. This is the worm rig. Here we go. Oh, did he just come? Okay, he come at me. I felt the line go slack. I felt it go slack again, but he was just coming at me. Boy, this one's running, buddy. This has got to be a carp. Yeah, I see him right there. It's a carp. Yeah, this really worked out today. Giving it 30 minutes. This really worked out. Y'all got it made, man. You just show up 30 minutes late to the trip and the bite's on. Now, how do y'all get the job as fishing partner? Oh, that's another good one right here. You think he's ready to be landed? Where's our net at? He's gonna take a look at this net and think twice. The carp must be able to see really good. Because I swear when they see the net, they try everything in the world to get away from it. Their eyesight must be pretty daggone. It's got to be better than mine these days. Me trying to thread line through my ultralight jigs is, boy, it's something else. Yeah, this is another good one right here, man. He ain't ready to come in yet, though. He ain't ready for it. Oh, goodness, I missed him. Boy, I suck at the net job today. Anytime, carp, anytime. We're on your schedule. I wonder if he ate that worm or if the worm had already been stripped off the hook by whatever had been over there tugging on it. We'll never know, but it'd be interesting. Okay. That last session here in Tennessee, boy, that's a good one. That last session, man, when I ran out of worms is when I started catching carp. When I had the worms on, it was buffalo getting the hook. Here, I'm gonna put y'all up here in the front seat again. You're gonna show up late, at least take a picture or two of me and these fish now. You won't even hold the camera straight. The camera's crooked up there, my gosh. What am I gonna do with y'all? Good enough. Listen here, buddy. He already spit that. Oh, Lord, fish. Easy, easy. Easy now, easy. Boy, he's ornery. Let me get that hook. There we go. Here, throw that out the way. Let's hold him up here before he goes crazy again. Okay. Nice, man. That's another solid fish. So we got another rod going down. Get out of here, carp. Get out of here. Get out of here. We got another run here in the middle rod. We got one in the middle. Is he still on? Boy, that last fish got gypped, didn't he? Yeah, he's coming at me. He's coming this way. Boy, he's coming up full speed this way, man. Look at him go. He's coming right at us, buddy. I couldn't catch up to the daggone thing. Man, he was full speed ahead, buddy. He's still wound up, buddy. He is fired up. He did not want that other fish getting camera time. This fish was so damn jealous of that other one. Let me get that other rig raised up there so he don't get tangled up in it. Boy, he was so jealous. He couldn't have that fish get any camera time. He was like, I'm gonna just act a fool here and cause a scene. And he did. I don't think he's gonna be as big as that last one. He's not a bad fish, but I don't think he's gonna be as big as the one we just cut the camera time short on. Oh, I got my dang. See, this right here is why I don't use a net for catfish. I get it tangled up and everything, and I can't, when I need it, I can't get it free. Golly, I'm still, bear with me here, folks. There we go, now we got access to it. I'm terrible at netting fish. It's a skill, really. It's the only thing I'm worse at than netting fish is dealing with people. Okay, we got him. Man, y'all, this really worked out. I mean, I sat here for 30 minutes with nothing happening. But that's oftentimes how it goes, and boy, it's panned out so far, though. We've got them feeding now, by gosh. Oh, easy. This is another one here that's on the hot pink. He's got a sore or something on him right there. Let me have that hook back, fish, and we'll... Okay, there goes it. Well, let's stick y'all back up. We gotta get some more baits out there, man. Right now we've got one line in the water. This one's kind of weird shaped, as his fin is hung in the net. Y'all just admire my hat a second here while I get this fish undone from my net. There we go. Nope. This thing's kind of, golly bum, now his fin's in the net again. I got him undone, he flopped. Don't flop again till I get you up here, fish. His body's kind of an odd shape. You can't make fun of a fish like that. That's body shaming, and you can't do it. Even in the carp world, it's very frowned upon, even more so than the humans. Man, y'all, this is a good time out here. I mean, I'm just twiddling thumbs first thing, but we got it going on now. Well, here's what let's do. I saw that other line moving. It was just the kayak moving. I'm gonna get baited up again here, and we're gonna see if we can't do that again. And then I'm hopefully gonna tell you a couple of Ohio stories that are just mind-boggling. This woman that was the most antisocial woman ever. Truth be told, her and I were probably soulmates, but we'll never know it because neither one of us can converse. Let me get the bait on here. I'm gonna tell you all about her. And then I had a conversation with a cop up there who friend is probably a strong word. He fishes the tournament trail, lives up there in Columbus, and I had a conversation with him and found out what them cops are doing up there in Columbus, which is just, and it may be going on more places too, but it's definitely going on in Columbus. He told me so, and I was shocked by it. Like, you talk about an invasion of privacy. I couldn't believe they were able to do this. Y'all may already know about this, but if not, I'm gonna tell you about it. So let's get that one out. That one is the pink corn, no worm. Next one will be the yellow corn, and we're gonna put a night crawler on it. I wanna do the 2 rigs with night crawlers just to try to get some buffalo if they're still here. Are they? I don't know. But there was a bunch in here that last time we fished together here in Tennessee for carp, so I already feel like I got some redemption from getting completely skunked up there in Hoover, man. Hoover was a tough trip. I got skunked on the carp. I couldn't hardly catch bait for catfish. And then when I went out to catfish, I only got 4 small ones. So it was I should have stayed in Sandusky Bay, I guess. I was doing well there. Let's get us one of these old worms on here, man. Old fishing worm. One of the original fishing baits of all time, the worm. Old night crawler. I ain't gonna do nothing special with this night crawler. I'm gonna hook him, and then I'm gonna hook him again as he wiggles around. Good enough, we'll call it. Good enough. I'll throw this one over here kind of to the left. To the left, to the left, as J-Lo says. And hopefully we've got enough space between these lines, I should say, that we can be able to fish and not get tangled up today. And hopefully be able to keep 3 rods. If we get to where we're catching fish after fish, we may go down to a couple rods maybe. Maybe even 1 rod if it's really just gets to an intense bite, but we can fish 3 pretty comfortably, I feel like, through here just because of the distance. Just because this is such a big area, we can kind of spread things out. Anyway, boy, we're doing really good here. This waiting 30 minutes, it really helped us get some more action earlier on in the video, which is what I was hoping to accomplish with that. I want the trips, these raw and uncut videos, I want them to be obviously real, but at the same time too, I don't want a lot of downtime if we can avoid it. And on these carp trips, it's just, I mean, I've had days, and y'all have seen them, where the bite's on instantly. But that's kind of more of the exception, not the rule. Like, it's most of the time you've got that time period when you first cast out that you just don't have anything going on. So I kind of feel like if we can wait a few minutes after I set up to turn the camera on, it'll make for, you'll still get the whole experience, at least, you know, the important part, but maybe we'll have a little bit more action from the start for you. That's my hope anyway. So anyway, let me tell you about this woman in Ohio, possibly my soulmate, but we'll never know. Because her and I we obviously have something in common with how little we want to talk to other human beings. But it kind of blew my mind at how she was. So anyway, I'm in Columbus up there, and I'd got back to the hotel and after fishing out there, and I'd showered, I'd eaten. I didn't want to just sit in the hotel. So I was like, it was a nice night. I'm going to go for a walk, because where I was staying out there in Columbus, there was Cabela's right next to the hotel that I was staying at. So I went over there, and there were some sidewalks and other stores and whatnot. And I was like, I'm just going to go for a walk. I wasn't really shopping per se. I'm just going to go walk around town. It was a nice night. And so I'm walking down the sidewalk, and I see this woman coming at me. Like, her and I are going to cross paths on the sidewalk. And she has a dog with her, and it's a boxer. And I may not be much on human interaction, but when it comes to a dog, specifically a boxer, like, boxers have a soft spot in my heart, man. That's my favorite kind of dog. Like, I love boxers. I've never met a human that I wanted to interact with, but I've never met a boxer that I didn't want to interact with. Like, I want to pet every single one of them. So we're making our way on a collision course on the sidewalk, and this dog, like, it sees me, like, it's excited. It clearly wants me to pet it. I want to pet it. But I'm not that kind of person that's just going to go up and pet a dog without asking permission to do so, because I just think that's rude. I mean, that happens with me all the time. If I've got Daphne out on a walk somewhere, people will come up and start petting her. And usually I kind of, you know, I ain't gonna say nothing, like, whatever. But I'll admit, like I do, if somebody doesn't ask first, I find it to be rude. Kids, I kind of give a pass on it because they're kids, even though when you get some snot-nosed kid with booger-crusted hands petting on your dog, it's a little, I'm like, man, I need some wipes to wipe her down. I will wipe Daphne down after the kids have touched her. But anyway, nevertheless, when you're out and you're crossing paths with a dog, specifically a boxer, like, I want to pet it. So me and this woman, we're coming down the sidewalk. We get within, you know, an interacting distance of each other. And she has done moved the dog on the leash to the outside of her. So like when we pass, the dog won't be able to get to me. But anyway, we get within speaking range, and I was like, hey, I really like your dog. Would you believe she wouldn't even look at me? Not a thank you, not a hi, good evening. Wouldn't even make eye contact with me. Wouldn't acknowledge my existence. I'm like, am I dead? Did I die? Am I a ghost right now? She can't see me? And I even kind of like, I was so blown away that she wouldn't even, it's one look I get if she didn't want me petting her dog or anything, but she could have just kept walking by and be like, thanks, and just kept going. But I slowed down. I just turned around. I'm like, really? She's just not even going to say hi, anything? I was blown away by that. Because, I mean, me personally, y'all know this, I'm the least social person in the world. Like, I don't speak unless I'm spoken to for normal conversation stuff. But if I'm got Daphne out on a walking trail somewhere, if we're at the park and you pass by somebody, it's just common courtesy to say, hi, good morning, how's it going? You say something as you pass by each other. That's just how it is. Even though you're not going to converse, it's a matter of courtesy, respect. You acknowledge that person. You make eye contact. Hey, how's it going? Good morning. And you keep walking. This woman violated all social construct. Like, just wouldn't acknowledge me, wouldn't look at me, nothing. We got one on this rod. This fish is as angry as that woman was. This fish may be angrier than she was. It was a peculiar situation, and I was taken aback by it. This fish, though, he's taken aback by it right now, too. He said he thought he had him a free meal. He said it's down there in the carp world, it's National Strawberry Shortcake Day or something. I don't know if there is such a thing as a National Strawberry Shortcake Day. There might be, because, I mean, hell, there's a day for everything. But down there in the carp world, apparently it is, and he's never had a strawberry shortcake before, and that pack bait sure seems like strawberry. It smells like it. Even with the mold growing all over it, like I've got here with me today, it still smells like strawberry shortcake. And this fish got him a hook in the jaw, and now we're playing tug of war, and he's not happy about it. I'm pretty sure it's another common. This was on the worm rig. So I mean, they're hitting the worm and the with and the without the worms today. No buffalo yet though. Not sure why all them buffalo were in here that last trip out. I don't know nothing. I don't know enough about their behavior. I don't know when they spawn. Like I'm completely ignorant. when it comes to buffalo. But boy, they were packed in here that day. You think we'll be able to get this one here on the first try on the net? I would bet no if Vegas was taking bets, I'd bet no. He still seems awful wound up. Don't get up there in my trolling motor. He's behind the motor right there, folks. Oh crap, he's behind my motor. He's in my prop. He's gonna run that line over it. Oh my gosh. What has he done here? I think he's gone. I think he got me tangled up somehow on my motor. I should raise that motor anyway. What's going on here? Apparently he's not in my motor. What is he in? What the hell is he in up there? I can't figure out what the hell's happened here, folks. I think he's gone. No, he's not on. He's not gone either. He's still on. What could he possibly be hung in? If he's not in my motor up there, what could he be in? Whatever it is pulling on it's fraying my line. Oh, you know what I bet he's done? He's still on there. Sure as the world he's on there. Okay, he's free. Whatever he was in, he's free. I thought he was gone. We'll have to check our line here in a minute. You know what I bet he done? Getting that net fish. I've added plastic to the bottom of my kayak up front there because it gets thin where I pound these concrete boat ramps all the time. I bet he ran my line across one of the rough edges of that. I think it looks okay. I thought for sure this braid's not very abrasion resistant, so. You know, for you being such a pain in the patootie fish, I'm not gonna give you any front camera time. You're not, you're gonna be held up. You're gonna be held out this way, and that's all you're getting. And you're gonna be thankful to get it too. I oughtn't even give you that fish. No bigger than you are and as much trouble as you caused. That old fish. I don't know what he was in up there. It had to be, yeah, I guess it had to be part of that plastic that's kind of rough. Hell, he probably ripped that dang the plastic that I take a heat gun and kind of just melt it on there just to kind of build up the plastic again. Well, he's probably done ripped all of it off. Either way, crisis averted, we got him. And that's another fish. We're gonna put another worm on, and we're gonna try it again. These carp are fun, man. I really enjoy it, and I'm filming this on a Sunday, and obviously it's apparently a pleasure boat weekend as we've got people camping up here in this other boat. But we're going to have this place other than the campers over here, and they're not coming back this far. I don't think they could get that boat back here where we're at. It's a little bit deeper up there where they're anchored down at. But we're going to have this place to ourselves and not have to deal with any boat wake, any people, nothing today, man. No rude ass women with boxers that are adorable and won't let you pet them. Nothing like that. Just gonna be me, you, some carp, maybe some buffalo. If we could get a mirror carp, that would be pretty incredible too. No promises on the mirror carp or buffalo, but so far so good on the common carp. With the exception of that right rod anyway. We're not getting any action over there on it. But the left rod and the middle one are doing quite well. All right, we're back in the game. Put our tub of worms back up into there. I got 2 tubs of worms, so we're not running out today. We ran out of worms on that last trip with the buffalo. I said, not today. I've got 2 tubs. He didn't get y'all wet on the screen, did he? He got something on. There's something on the lens. I don't know if that's crumbs or what. Bear with me a second here, y'all. It's gonna drive, it may not bother you. Y'all may not even see it. It would drive me insane. Yeah, all right. But yeah, y'all, this woman could have very well been my soulmate as much as she didn't want to interact with people. But I was just blown away that she wouldn't let me, it wasn't in fact, look, you know, she could have just said, when I said, you know, hi, I really like your dog, she could have just said thanks and kept walking. If she had slowed down, there was a buffalo right there I saw come up. If she had slowed down, then I would have been like, do you mind if I pet him? Or what's his name? You know, something like that. But to not even acknowledge me, not to even say hi. And she was a fairly attractive woman too. It wasn't like she had anything to be pissed off at life for. I don't know, maybe she thought I was going to hit on her or something. But it wasn't, I mean, we're out there. It's still daylight. It's a nice part of town. There's cars going up and down the street. It's not like she's in fear of you know, being assaulted or anything. It's not that part of town. She was just rude. You know, that kind of thing, I mean, here in the South, you take somebody like me that's just, I mean, when I'm at a boat ramp, man, like, I don't make eye contact with people. I talk with people at the boat ramp all the time, but they approach me. Like, I don't approach anybody. Like, I'm very, just keep to myself. But if I'm on a walking trail, I will do the courteous thing and say hi, hello, good morning, whatever. You know, I do that. This woman wouldn't even do that, so. I don't know what kind of stick she had up her ass that day, but boy, it was wedged tight. So I didn't get to pet that dog. And I wanted to. I mean, it was, oh, another big splash. We got a bunch of fish over here by our baits, man. We've rebaited enough. They're in here. They know there's food. It will not be long before we got the next rod going down, folks. Why don't y'all reel in the next one for me? Let me have a break for a minute. Y'all reel in that next one. At least if you ain't gonna reel one in, at least net the damn things for me before I get them tangled in something else. I'm feeling redeemed though, man. After getting skunked up there on Hoover for carp, I'm feeling like I'm back in the carp game here. I'm hoping that, so the catfish that I got, man, I was catching them on the balloon rig. And I can tell you all this because by the time this video comes out, the tournament's over, so I ain't really giving away strategy to any of my competitors who's potentially watching, which I doubt they are anyway. I doubt they're watching a carp video from me. But one of the things I did learn at Hoover with the few fish that I caught, again, it was 4 small fish. Y'all I ain't gonna waste your time posting any content from that. But 3 out of the 4 were caught on a balloon rig, and they were caught on an artificial. So bluegill was the only bait that I could get up there, which isn't my favorite bait. Y'all know this, my regular viewers. But it's all I had, so I went with it. And so I was running 1 balloon rig and 2 dragging rigs. And I was covering water on the upper end of the reservoir, which is just a big mud flat up there. And I got 3 out of the 4 fish on that balloon rig, which was just a few feet down over, the depth varied 12 to 20 something feet, depending on where I was at. But those fish were eating the balloon rig, and they were eating, I had a 1 ounce hair jig, a Catfish Sumo bait stalker jig, a few feet below my hook bait, which was the bluegill. They were nailing that jig. And last year, when we had our tournament up there, most of the fish that I caught was on a balloon rig. And I was getting them, I got my biggest fish on a fly on tournament day under a balloon rig, and I got some others there on the cut bait under balloon rigs, but they were eating those baits in a few feet of water there that was like over 20 feet. Like the depth, the overall depth would be 20, 25 feet of water, but they were way up high in the water column. Now, last year we were there early May. It's obviously middle of summer now. I wasn't sure if that bite was just a freak thing last year. Was it a time of year thing? It's clearly going on regularly. The fact that I was able to get, so that's going to be my plan going up there for the tournament. Like I'm going to expect to catch fish on that balloon rig. Now I don't know if I'll start out with 1 or 2, but it's definitely going to be part of my planning for up there. And water temps is like 74. So those fish, obviously the spawn's been going on here in Tennessee, but Ohio's a different climate than us. They're north of us. Water temps lagging up there a little bit, so their spawn's going to be a little bit later than ours. I think those fish up there are probably mostly nesting, and so it may not take a huge score to win that tournament. So I'm going to go out there and just cover water, run them balloon rigs, and I'm going to do it for about 8 hours, because where the tournament, that Hoover's so small, like you could fish anywhere you want and make it back to check-in. But I'm going to fish the ramp that's where our check-in is going to be held at. So like I can fish the full 8 hours. Our tournament will run 7 to 3, and then we got to 4 o'clock to make it back to check-in. So I can fish from lines in to lines out time, and no worries of making it back to check-in. So I'm going to pull baits for 8 hours and see what happens, man. It'll either work out or it won't, but I don't really see a need to go back up before then to pre-fish, because the only thing I would really be testing going back up would just be different types of baits, which I'm going to take bait with me when I go for the tournament. I'm not going to depend on going up. I had forgot to take my cast net. That was what kept me from getting any shad. And I couldn't catch any legal size crappie. I caught a bunch of crappie, but they were all small. So that's why I got stuck using bluegill, which I found out, and I'd heard this before and forgot, but Ohio has a cast net rule. Can't use more than a 5-foot cast net, which is pretty stupid, if you ask me. And I throw a 6-foot net, so I would have probably got busted had I used it and got me a ticket. Yeah, 5-foot cat. They let the commercial fishermen up there just deplete the water of big catfish, man. They let the commercial guys pull out all them big cats, sell them to the pay lakes. But by gosh, if a person who's doing things right, pays their fishing license fee, just wants to catch some damn shad, they're stuck with a 5-foot net. I mean, like, what the hell is wrong with them up there? I just think that's silly. But anyhow, that's how it is, and I don't have a 5-foot net currently, so if I had gotten stopped with that bigger net Look, I ain't gonna sit here and say I wouldn't have used it. I would have, but I found out after the fact, and I had heard it before, I just forgot. But yeah, so anyway, I didn't get no shad. But I'm gonna have bait with me when I go up there for the tournament. Like I'm gonna take it with me, so I won't have to worry about it. But by the time this video comes out, the tournament's already happened, so I don't have to worry about tipping off my competition to my game plan, which honestly no better than I did up there on this little road trip. I don't know why anybody would want to try to copy me anyway. But I think most of the tournament field will be on that upper end of the reservoir. I think pretty much everybody will be, so. I imagine there'll be a couple people. I don't know that anybody will go to the lower end. I could be wrong, but I think everybody will. Most of the people will be at the top, maybe a few people in the middle. But I think pretty much all of us are going to be kind of just working that big mud flat. And I've been told too, they've got a thermocline up there during the summer. That may play a role in them fish being higher up in the water column like they were too. But it's, you know, it's a weird thing. Like down here, I guess we've got enough water flow in the summer months that we don't really have a thermocline. If it's a really dry year and they're not running water at the dams, the lower ends sometimes get a thermocline, but upper and middle sections of the reservoirs here, we get enough flow, it just don't happen. So you can fish deep here year round. But some of them smaller lakes and reservoirs, they do get thermoclines, and so you have to take that into account as far as how deep you're fishing. Even though it may not make sense to be fishing 6 foot deep in middle of summer, it's some places that's going to be the bite. I experienced that last year on Kerr Lake. It was, when did we go over there? August, I think it was. I think it was August. We're over there on Kerr Lake, and you look at Kerr Lake on a map, it looks similar to the Tennessee River. I mean, Kerr Lake is, it's a reservoir. Like it's got that, I think the Roanoke River there that runs through. And you look at it on the map and it looks very similar to what I fish here at home. And I thought, that time of year, I'm catching fish on deep holes here. And so I went over there thinking, man, there was another carp that come up right there. We got more fish over there by our baits. So I went over there thinking deep holes probably gonna be where it's at. And that was not the case at all. Like those fish were shallow. They were very shallow. Like I was getting my fish 15, 20 feet deep as left rod. Something was pulling a little bit. We're gonna get bit here real soon. I saw that other one surface over there, and then that rod had a little something, and he's back after it. He's in that chum pile. I bet it's his tail hitting that line. He's near it. He'll get it here shortly. So yeah, anyway, y'all, I mean, just bottom line is, every body of water is different. And when you're fishing these tournaments, if you can figure out something, just a little clue, maybe it's bait, maybe it's technique, maybe it's your speed, depth, type of anything to give you an edge, that can mean the difference between catching fish and not catching fish, or catching the quality of fish needed to cash a check versus finishing middle of the pack. Like that can be big. I think we got our right rod over here. It's finally got something on it. It's got a little weight. It's past time to reel that thing in and rebait anyway. I hope he takes it. We'll give that another minute or two, see if something was tugging on it. We'll see if that hooks up. If not, we're gonna reel it in a second anyway, because it needs to be rebaited. These middle two rods here have got all our fish so far. Yeah, that rod's past due. But as for what it takes to catch a carp up there on Hoover, hell, I don't know. I heard the rumors, but I don't know what it takes. It's very discouraging though. When you go somewhere new, it's always discouraging to get skunked. But especially so when you've traveled somewhere. Oh, there was another one up there. When you've traveled a few hours to go fish somewhere and you don't, not only maybe not get the quality of fish you would hope for, but don't get anything, like it's incredibly frustrating. That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. I'll eventually get good enough at this carp fishing that I can go out and consistently, everywhere I go, be able to catch fish like we're doing here today, but I'm not at that point. I don't have the knowledge yet. It just takes some time, like I did with catfish. I didn't start out being good at catfishing either. I had a long time before I got to where I could consistently go out and get on fish. I think people oftentimes see that on YouTube, and they'll see me or somebody else going out and just whacking them every video. And when you see that, you think, man, if you're not getting those results, you think, man, I just suck. But in reality, what you didn't see was all of the years that led up to me being able to do this now with the catfish. You didn't see all the years where I was out just going out and getting skunked or catching one fish, and you didn't see all that. You see the finished product. I don't say finished product because I'm always learning, trying different things and getting better. But you know what? You missed out on the first, I don't know how many years that I'd been doing it before I ever got a camera. So it's a little bit, I don't want to say it's deceiving, but it kind of is in a way that I don't want people getting discouraged. If you're not having the same results as somebody like me or other YouTubers, you shouldn't be discouraged by it, because it's just part of paying your dues as a fisherman. You can shorten the learning curve now with YouTube and all the other information available online. You know, when I was learning how to catfish, there wasn't YouTube. That was pre-YouTube. You had some forums back in the day, message boards. That's how you communicated online. So most of my learning was done with trial and error, just trying stuff. Okay, this worked. Try something. Okay, this didn't work. And just time and trials. Nowadays, you can shorten your learning curve a lot by watching YouTube videos and researching on the internet and stuff like that. So it may not take you as long to get to a point where me or other YouTubers are at as it did for some of us that just grew up in a time without internet and YouTube and things. But you still can't expect to watch 2 or 3 videos and go out and catch fish everywhere you go every day. Like, that's just not realistic. At least not in my opinion anyway. Let's reel in this rod over here. It's past time. We'll refresh it. We'll see if it still has a worm on it. I bet the worm's gone. Whatever was tugging on it probably got the worm. It did. We got robbed on that. We need to call the police. If this was in Columbus, they'd already know the fish that stole this bait right here, by gosh. Because they got cameras everywhere out there in Columbus, folks. I'm gonna tell you that story next, because I found this to be fascinating. Let me get this bait on here, way I can fully focus on the story, because I don't want to. Oh, hang on. Let's get that. This fish right here bit at the wrong time. He saw I had my hands full and he seized an opportunity. Old fish. He knew what he was doing. He thought he was going to sneak off with it while I was distracted. Joke's on you, fish. I got you. I ain't letting you go. This is another carp, I guarantee it, the way he's running. I saw that buffalo come up. There's buffalo out there. But they ain't hit it yet. One people down there on that boat, they're sleeping in this morning. They're missing out on some fish catching. I guarantee you they partied all night. All night long. Not till the break of dawn though, because I was out here at the break of dawn and they was already conked out. Is this fish went over or under my other line? I don't know. We may be, come over here to the left, fish, would you? Get away from that other line. Oh, I've told you a lie. We got our first buffalo. We got our first one here. I thought it was a carp the way he was running. Buffalo number 1. Okay, folks, I knew I saw one over there. Let's, you know what, let's do this. Let's set him back a second. Let's get this rod out of the way before we land him, because we'll have a mess in here if we don't. Let's get us another worm. I'm gonna stick with the setup, 2 worms, and that other rod there with just the corn only. It seems to be working for us, so. That one there ate one of the worm rigs though. Something about the worms, man, most of my carp have historically been caught on worms. I don't know if that's just, I've caught so few. Well, I didn't get that as far to the left as I wanted to, or far to the right, I mean. That could be a potential problem if we get a fish on that. We may get a tangle on that one, but we'll deal with it when the time comes. But yeah, most of my fish, buffalo anyway, have been on worms. And I've been told, come over here, buffalo. No, they don't like these nets any more than the carp do. I'm gonna give you front camera time, buffalo, so you ought to be happy to come get in this net. There we go. All right, man. All right. Yes. That ain't a bad one either, folks. He's pretty good fish. Let's see what we got going on here, buffalo. Nope. Well, we got it out. As he acts a fool. Boy, he splashed water in my mouth too. Water or slime one. What's he doing in my, okay. Here, y'all set up here. Did he get water? He did. Okay, y'all good now. I got water all over my glasses. That's all right. Y'all, do me a solid here and get a picture of me and old Buffalo Bill. Old Buffalo Bill right there. Buffalo number 1 of the trip. This makes me happy, y'all. I come back down here to hit this spot again just for these, hoping they would still be here. This makes me happy. Go tell your friends I want to play with them too. He fought more like a carp. Some of them buffalo that I've caught have had odd fights, like they fight different. But that one there I thought was a carp when he hit because of the way he was running. He got me all slimed up, watered up, and everything right there. Yes, y'all, got us a buffalo. I'm gonna be trying, if I can ever get some, I'm gonna be trying different bait for buffalo. I've been told by numerous people now that I need to get some bean meal, like soybean meal, and use it like we're using the panko as our mixture. Use bean meal instead. And apparently the buffalo really like that. But the problem is I can't find the damn stuff. It's apparently, I've been told you can buy it at the farm stores. But the local farm stores around in my area don't have it. Like, I've been to Tractor Supply, Rural King, Co-op. None of them have it. And if you try ordering it, sure, you can order a 50-pound bag, but hell, you're gonna pay out the butt in shipping on a package that big. So I ain't been able to get none. But I want to try it and see like if that'll make a difference on the buffalo catches or not. I'm willing to try it. This mixture here works really well for carp, so like I don't have a reason to really change it, but I would be willing to try the bean meal if I could get it. Sticking to the worm on here. Oh, worm, big worm. Big old juicy Canadian night crawler. Not them old American night crawlers. Nobody wants an American night crawler. Only Canadian. They're apparently, they're the bee's knees, man. All right, back out it goes. Okay. Yep, folks, we've had us a productive morning here, man. It started slow, which you all got to avoid, and now, man, business has picked up. We've got several fish. We've had some good quality carp. Now we got us a buffalo. Only thing we're lacking right now is a mirror. And who knows, it just might happen at some point. You just never know, folks. It could happen at any time. I have caught mirrors here before in years past, so we got a possibility of it. What was I talking about before that fish hit? Oh, I was going to tell the Ohio story. Yeah, so I'm up there and there's a cop that fishes our tournament trail named Brandon. And he's been up there, been a cop with the Columbus. He's one of them dog cops. He's got a vicious attack dog. I met up with him. He let that dog out to pee out the car and he had it bark at me. About scared the daylights out of me. I about peed on myself when that thing barked at me. Anyway, he's a cop up there. He fishes our tournaments and stuff. He's also a falconer. I had teased that in my Sandusky. For my regular viewers, I had teased that because he was supposed to fish with me on the carp trip. Not that we would have caught any carp for me to post a video from it anyway, but I got a bunch of questions about his falconry stuff. He captures these wild birds of prey, and it's apparently a thing. I got questions about it. We were going to get the answers to those questions. But anyway, he had a doctor's appointment when we were supposed to fish together. Lame excuse, I told him. Not that it mattered anyway, because I couldn't catch any fish there anyhow. So anyway, though, I met up with him one night there. It was actually the night of the dog walk lady, because I was out. He messaged me to find out what hotel I was at. He's going to swing by. I told him I was out on the walk, and he's out there on the beat, you know. He's out there on the force, milking the taxpayer dollar out there shooting the bull with me instead of fighting crime. But he was telling me about their camera system they got going on up there in Columbus. And this could be in towns all over, I don't know. This is the first I'd heard of it, but I was fascinated by it. So up there in Columbus, they have this camera system that is constantly scanning people's license plate tags. So let's just say a car gets stolen. That tag gets reported to the police, obviously. The person who steals the car drives by one of these cameras. It scans the plate. The computer recognizes, oh, this car's been stolen, sends an alert to the nearest officer in the area, and they go arrest that person. So if you steal a car, if you got a warrant, whatever, eye in the sky, CIA style, is constantly watching you up there. Now, on the surface of that, sounds pretty good, right? Well, monitoring criminal activity. Sending alerts, you get your car stolen, you would at least think more likely to get it found, catch the person who stole it. I mean, in theory, versus just depending on a random citizen or another cop to just stumble into it. But here's the thing, folks. Let me give me a big gulp. I'm going to go on a soapbox on this. Here's the thing. If something is used as it is intended to, great. How often does that happen in real life, though? How often does that happen? Because people, at the end of the day, people are people. And so you get these cops, and listen, I ain't trying to badmouth cops here. All right? I got cops that watch my channel. I'm sure you're fine people. And I fully support police. I support, here's the thing. I support the police, but I don't know that I've ever met a cop that I really like. I mean, Brandon up there at Fish Our Tournament, he's an okay guy. I like him. So he's probably the first. Most of the time, these cops, let's be real, you really want to interact with them? I mean, come on. But so, yeah, so while I support the police, I don't really like cops on an individual basis. But cops are cops, they're people. And you see the stories of cops that are crooked or, you know, not the best people. I mean, hell, up there recently, up there at that golf tournament up there in Kentucky, that cop told just outright lies on that golfer. Talking about how he had, you know, run him over, whatever, dragged him down the road, and the video proof of that showed that did not happen at all. And if it had been anybody else other than the #1 golfer in the world, they would have hung for that, man. They'd be prosecuted, go to the pokey for years. That cop lied. He falsified a police report. So bottom line, and I ain't saying all cops are like that. I ain't saying that all. It's a small percentage. when you look at the cops overall, it's probably 1% maybe. I mean, it's a small percent. It's just like it is with people. Most people are good, but it's the 1 or 2% of the people that are just scumbags. Oh, 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 here we go. Here we go. Right rod. Yes, he ran that way too. Keep going that direction, fish. Keep going that direction. We had cast this rod back out and it was a little bit more to the left than I wanted it to be. I was worried he was going to run to the left and get in that other line. Now he's wanting to go that way. Oh, yeah, he's crossing over it. I think he swam over it okay, though. He went over it and didn't get in it. Okay. Let's tighten that line back up now. He's like, okay, Justin, I didn't get in it. Let me try again. He's going to come this way now. Still going to the left. Let me tighten up that one a little bit too. I want to say this is a carp by how he's running, but that buffalo fooled us. Fooled me anyway, last time, so I don't really want to commit to saying what he is until I get eyes on him. Oh, he got in this other line, I think. Where are you at, fish? I think he's went under this one. Let's go. Okay. Yeah, he went under it. He went under it and didn't get in it. Well, we got lucky twice right there. Oh, got lucky twice. He got me hung in something right there and just pulled free. Oh. I gave him some slack when I went under that other line. I felt like he got in something right there and pulled free. Well, that was probably a carp, but we'll never know for sure. Either way, let's cast back out here. And then I'm gonna go on how this is a big invasion of our privacy happening up here in Columbus, and maybe possibly police departments all over the country potentially. I don't know how I feel about it, honestly. Because again, if it's used as intended, and you're a normal law-abiding citizen like me, it's a good thing. But just knowing how people are, I have to believe it's being used in ways it's not supposed to be. Let me get another worm on here. Oh, night crawler. They don't make a day crawler worm, I don't reckon. You think a night crawler works better at night? Or is that just maybe false advertisement? They work just as good or better during the day? I don't know. Okay. All right, that's a little better. A little better distance-wise away from that other line. Okay. All right, we got all our lines back out. We're back in it. But yeah, you know, these cops, I mean, it's like anything else in life. They're probably 99% good, but you get 1 or 2 that are scumbags, and it makes the whole thing look bad. And it happens in every industry. I ain't just calling out cops on this. It's just, that's across the board. Investment bankers, real estate, healthcare, like there's bad people in all of it. Small percentage, but enough that something happens, it gives the whole industry a black eye. You see it with cops a lot. Doesn't mean it's happening widespread, but it's enough that it's just one of them things. Oh, He took it over hard and then did not hook up. Let's give that a second and then we'll maybe reel in. I bet he got our worm. I bet he had the worm. What do you think? He took it over hard. Did I not loosen my drag? No, my drag's okay. I bet we got no worm left. No? I don't know what went wrong with that. Either way, we'll rebait it. We didn't reeled it in now. But here's where I'm going with all this, y'all. You get this camera system that can basically follow you around town if you wanted it to. Like, let's say you get a cop that's maybe fascinated with some woman, let's say. And maybe he wants to stalk her, but he don't really want to stalk her per se. I mean, he could watch her from anywhere, know exactly, but that camera system, follow her car around, know where she's at all times, who she's with, what she's doing. And maybe I'm being a little sexist here, possibly. It could happen. I mean, you get some stud muffin like me, some stud horse of a man, and you get some woman cop up there, gets a load of me. She ain't never seen nothing like me in Ohio before, I'm sure, you know. And she's like, look at that tall drink of water. And she wants to be all up in my business. She could be following me around all over town with them cameras. And I have to believe, just knowing how people are, that's happening. And it's probably going on. It's probably being used to people that are checking in on their wives, their husbands. Like, I can't believe that it's used 100% of the time for how it was intended to do. And if you can't ensure that it's going to be used like that all the time, how it's supposed to be, should it even be used at all? And I don't know how I feel about it. Again, I'm a law-abiding citizen. If my car got stolen, I would be thankful to have this eye in the sky. But as just a normal human being, just knowing you're driving around, always being watched, I mean, it's bad enough with our cell phones. I mean, we carry around a damn GPS tracker in our pockets all the time with these cell phones. And if you're most people, you probably feel the same way about it as I do. It's like, well, what the hell does the government want to watch me for? Here's my day. I wake up, I come out here, I fish. I'm gonna go home, eat lunch. I'm gonna take an afternoon nap. That's gonna be my day. Like, you really wanna watch me do that? I mean, some of these government people, they might wanna watch me catch a fish. They might learn a thing or two, maybe. I don't know. But I'm just saying, like, these people out there are far more interesting than me. But it just seems odd that this kind of surveillance would be, that people would be okay with. And I didn't even know, I mean, look, we know them satellites up in the sky, man. I mean, you get on Google Earth, I think most of us has probably pulled up our own house on Google Earth, right? The satellite images, I mean, this thing's from outer space, can pull up detailed images of our house from a gazillion miles away. It's like, if that's what they're showing us on a free version of Google Earth, imagine the capabilities that they have that we don't know about. Like, well, our every move's being watched anyway. But just the fact that it's, I don't know. When I heard what they have available up there, I was like, wow, that's really, like, I can't believe that kind of thing Because let's say you had a problem. Let's say you had a problem with a cop. You know, I went off on a cop a couple of years back, not like in person or anything, but like I was talking about him giving me a speeding ticket in some video. Maybe it had been a live stream or something. What if that cop's like, you know, maybe he sees that video and he's like, you know, this prick, I let him off with just a ticket. He ain't very grateful. Why don't I just put a APB out on such and such vehicle, and oops, I mistyped a letter in, so now it's his license plate that's in there. They could cause you all kinds of problems. And there's really no recourse for it because they're cops. I just think it's too much power for them to have when they already have a ton of power. I don't know how I feel about it, that's what I'm getting at. I mean, again, how does that compare to us carrying around cell phones, which are GPS trackers in our pocket all day? I mean, they monitor everything on our phones. They monitor our conversations, our internet search history, our patterns of when we sleep, our keystrokes. Like, they monitor all that already. Is it that big a deal for them to be scanning license plates as we drive around town, having the ability to follow you if they wanted to without actually following you? Is it that big a deal? Maybe it's not, but it sure seemed like it to me. And this may be going on all over the country for all I know. But I didn't know that police departments were doing this. But that's how it is up in Columbus. You steal a car, when that license plate hits that computer system, buddy, you better not drive through town. You better stick to the country roads where they ain't got no cameras. Criminals today, man, like, they got to be smarter today than ever before. And it makes you wonder, you take some of these serial killer types, the Jeffrey Dahmers, the Ted Bundys. There's probably been a ton more that never got caught, that we don't know anything about. It makes you wonder, oh, left rod here. The worm we cast back out, something was interested in him, wasn't he? But it makes you wonder, look, here's where I'm going with this little side topic here, philosophical conversation. We have the conversation in sports all the time. Who's better, Michael Jordan, LeBron James? Everybody's got an opinion on it. Babe Ruth versus modern day baseball players. The argument with Babe Ruth is, well, he was hitting baseballs from guys working as plumbers in the off season or something, right? Like guys running grocery stores in the off season, he's hitting home runs off of them. He couldn't hit modern day pitching. I don't know, maybe he couldn't. Hold on, middle rod. That's the one without the worm. Now our left rod's getting a tug. We got two rods right there that's got fish around them. Neither one of them's bolting. But anyway, in sports, we have these conversations. Could Babe Ruth hit modern day pitching? If LeBron and Michael played against each other, who would have been better? Boxers from different eras. Rocky Marciano versus Mike Tyson in his prime. Who would win? You know, you can have these philosophical debates with sports. But it's also fascinating to think about from a serial killer perspective. You take people who were the Ted Bundys, the Jeffrey Dahmers, various serial killers, right? Well known, killed a bunch of people. Put them in the modern day era with all this video surveillance and GPS on our cell phones and all of that. Would they be as successful today as what they were 40 years ago. And, you know, that's an interesting conversation to have. This is one I have in my head sometimes. It's like, on one hand, you think, well, they couldn't do what they done because cameras would have caught them. You know, Find My iPhone thing would have, yeah, it would have, sure, they could have probably killed a few people, but it wouldn't have got to as many as they did. Then there's the other part of it that's like, well, smart people adapt. The cream rises to the top. Like, the best serial killer, I won't say the best, there's no such thing as a good serial killer, but like what's the word I'm looking here for? I ain't trying to talk anybody into being a serial killer here. But I'm just saying, like, the most successful serial killers, the ones they do documentaries about nowadays, they would have obviously had to adapt to modern day times to do what they did and get as many people as they did, but I think some of them probably would have. I think they would have adapted, just like I think, would Babe Ruth hit 714 home runs in the modern day era? I don't know. But yes, Babe Ruth would have been hitting off much better pitching today, but he would have also had much better training today. He would have had supplements and trainers and, you know, like everything would have been better for him today as well too. So you have to take that into consideration. Sure, Michael Jordan may have scored a lot more points in the modern day basketball era, but I'm sure LeBron would have adapted to the hand checking back in the day in the 80s and 90s as well. So, you know, but it would be interesting. I'm sure there are people who are serial killers among us today, but they've got to be doing things a little bit differently. I don't know. And here's the thing, all the ones they've done documentaries on, those are like the most, I mean, God almighty, Netflix has got 12 different documentaries on every serial killer that's ever been caught. Like, how many times can you tell the same story? But I have to believe the most success, it ain't like with professional athletes. Like, whether you think the best hitter of all time is Babe Ruth or Ted Williams or Pete Rose or Barry Bonds, we've seen them. We've seen them. They've played in front of people. Like, I promise you, there's no better hitters on the face of the earth. It's like they're playing in some backyard league that's not being filmed. Like, that's not the case. Like, if you're a good baseball hitter, you've been on TV. You've played in the big leagues. But with serial killers, unless they get caught, you don't even know. So I would assume that the truly the best serial killer, not, again, I don't say best like it's a good thing they're doing, but I'm just saying most successful, like people who are really good at what they do, they never got caught. So we don't know how many people they got. We don't know how they went about it. Like, there's been tons of missing people. I mean, Robert Stack back in the 80s had this TV show called Unsolved Mysteries. It used to freak me out as a kid because occasionally he would do a ghost story on there. And I'm terrified of ghosts, always have been. And, you know, maybe my fear of ghosts stemmed from Robert Stack back in the day, because he looked like a damn ghost on the show Unsolved Mysteries. Y'all, there's probably some episodes on YouTube or the internet somewhere. Look up Unsolved Mysteries in your free time. Check out Robert Stack back in the day. Creepy fella. I bet you that's where my I have an unhealthy fear of ghosts. Like, really unhealthy fear of ghosts. They creep me out, man. I bet it started, in hindsight, I bet it started when I was a child. Because again, I'd be staying with my great-grandma and we watched wrestling during the day, but by God, when Unsolved Mysteries come on at night, she watched it too. I bet you that's where my fear of ghosts came from. I know that's when my fear, or not my fear, just my, well, kind of my, they creep me out, and I hate them. Ants. That started when I was a child because I'd watched that movie on Fox 43 of the giant ants. I bet you that's where my fear of ghosts started too. Robert Stack, Unsolved Mysteries, 1980s. I guess he's probably dead now. He may be a ghost right now too. I may be conjuring him up just by speaking his name. It may be like Beetlejuice. You say his name 3 times and he appears. But yeah. I just, from a philosophical debate, would the Jeffrey Dahmers and Ted Bundys be successful in the modern day era? The people that are serial killers today, how are they going about it? Like it's fascinating to think about. Some of you probably watched that TV show. It was on Showtime or Cinemax. I don't know if Cinemax is still a thing or not. I bet it was Showtime. But there was a TV show called Dexter. And it ran for several seasons, but Dexter was a cop. I don't give spoiler alerts on this, but it's been over for a long time. So if you ain't watched it by now, you probably ain't gonna watch it. But anyway, Dexter was a cop. He worked in the forensics department of the police station, and he was a serial killer. And because he was a cop, forensic cop, and knew how to hide the evidence and all that, like he would go to these elaborate setups to stop. Watch that osprey. Oh, he got him one. No, he didn't. He missed. He went down, he missed. We caught him in the act. See, we got the eye in the sky here, video surveillance for ospreys. We done busted him trying to murder a shad over there. He's about to go down again, I think. He's got him a nest on that pole over there. But, well, I shifted my weight, now my power poles have come. There we go. I done forgot what that damn osprey got me distracted. I done forgot what I was saying. I literally forgot what I was saying. Oh, Dexter. Yeah, but he was a serial killer and a forensic cop. And he would go to these elaborate setups to stalk his victims. He would put up this plastic all around the room, kill them, then take down all the plastic so there was no DNA, no blood anywhere, and then go get rid of the bodies in the ocean. And it's like, man, if you had somebody that was that elaborate, and I have to believe it exists, they could probably function well in the modern day society, but how do you get by the cameras? When they get a victim, what are they doing with their cell phone? Do they immediately get rid of the cell phone? Because that's going to show, there was another buffalo right there, come up. Yeah, that's going to show their last location, the last place they pinged. So if they were in a public place, and I bet you, man, you probably don't have to be connected to a cell phone tower. Like, they can probably still find you. They may not want us to know they have that capability, but I bet you they do. I just don't know how they would, do it today. But I bet you it's happening. The cream of the crop, man, the top dogs. And then it makes you wonder, like, and maybe this is how they get caught. A lot of these serial killers, they leave clues and stuff. Because just like just like with anything else, if you're good at something, you probably want some acknowledgement for it, right? I mean, these professional athletes, they want the spotlight of playing in the big leagues. They want the big contracts. They want the MVP awards, the fame that goes with it. I imagine if you take a serial killer, they probably have the same kind of ego, right? I mean, sure, they might be a sociopath, but they probably still have ego. They may even have a bigger ego because they're a sociopath. So they're going to want that credit, that fame. But if there was a serial killer with no ego, I'm trying to think of an example. I'm trying to think of like a selfless player in pro sports. I honestly can't even really think of one. But you know what I'm trying to say? Like somebody that just gives all the credit to his teammates, just wants to play the game, works hard, and just wants to play but doesn't want the attention. I can't think of any off the top of my head, honestly. But if that existed in the serial killer world, like that would be the one that didn't get caught. I've said the same thing about these cheaters in the fishing tournaments. When do these guys get, like you take them guys that got busted there, was it last year, year before? My days have run together. I got so sick of seeing those news stories pop up from them guys that got caught cheating in the walleye tournament. They'd stuffed them lead weights down the fish. And they got caught. And them guys had been suspected of being cheaters for a long time, apparently. They had won a bunch of money, boats, etc. What ultimately got them caught was just the fact that they just kept winning. They kept just pounding these guys they were fishing against. They were so dominant. That drew suspicion to them anyway. Then you got all the fact, of course, they've got these fish that don't look like they should weigh as much as they do and whatnot. So people had concerns. Those people get caught, and they get caught damn near every time. It may take a while, but they get caught. You know who's not going to get caught, though? This fish is going to get caught here in a second. He's over at that bait, that worm rig. I think he's still working around it. I think that rod tip was... I can't see my line on the water. I guess my glasses, the way the sun is, I can't see my line. We're due for another fish. I thought it was going to be hot and heavy the way it kind of... When the bite got going there and I turned the camera on, I thought we were just going to tear them up all morning, but we've had some downtime here. Hell, I done forgot what I was talking about again. What was I talking about? Them damn fish distract me. Oh, the cheaters, the fishing cheaters. So the people who are that brazen about it, they're going to get caught eventually, every time. But it seems to me like if a person was just trying to cash checks, if a person didn't want, just wanted money, the smart thing to do would be don't win every damn tournament. Finish middle of the pack in the cashing positions there. You know what I mean? Like 5th place in them big tournaments cashes a check too. Nobody thinks anything about the 5th place guy. All the attention's on 1st place. if a smart person really wanted to cheat, they'd do just enough to cash a check. And so I bet that happens. Of course, I don't know. Fishing's another one of those things, like with athletes, there's a lot of ego. They want that notoriety, that recognition. I don't know if they could handle being 5th place all the time or something. But if they could, a person could do that, cash checks on the regular, and fly right under the radar. Nobody would bat an eye because they weren't winning. It's the guys who have to win. Those are the ones that gets caught. And, you know, that kind of stuff, the serial killers, the fishing cheaters, all that stuff. I mean, again, it's like the bad cops. You're talking just a fraction of the percentage of the population. But by gosh, it only takes that one to tarnish the reputation of the whole shebang. Not that serial killers have a reputation. Oh, there was another carp come up right there. Man, they're out there in that area. But you know what I mean. The cops, the fishermen, you get 1 or 2 bad apples and it paints the whole group in a bad light. Old Brandon, though, up there in Columbus, he's an okay feller. I can't fully like him again because he's a cop. He did give me a baseball card, though. Oh, there, he finally got it. Nope, he didn't. He didn't. Well, let's reel in and see if he's got our worm. We may go ahead and rebait all these. I feel like we've had a little stretch here where we ain't getting bit. I'm ready to catch another fish. I don't know about y'all. I'm ready to catch another one. We can sit out here and talk about conspiracy theories and Robert Stack and whether Jeffrey Dahmer would have went longer without getting caught in 2024 than he did and whenever the hell he was doing his thing. I think Dahmer was I remember being a kid and hearing about Jeffrey Dahmer, so he must have been 80s or early 90s. He was weird though. I watched part of that one Netflix thing on him. And he was eating people. I guess it's free meat. Unlike getting deer though, humans, you know what they're putting in their body. It's garbage. I don't know if the meat would be any good. Not that I'd eat a human anyway. I'm just saying though. You know, if you go to the store and you buy a steak that's from grass-fed cows, or if you're a hunter and you get a deer and you know like it's been just roaming around out in the forest, like you know what's in that meat. But with humans, I mean, hell, they're eating junk food all the time. They're eating all this processed stuff, and like that meat's probably not any good. Probably gonna be, if you're eating somebody from the South, it's probably gonna have a lot of fat on it too. It's amazing. I'm gonna piss some people off because most of my audience is in the South. But like when you get away, because I've, in my last job there as a nurse, I traveled, I went all over. It's amazing when you get away from the South, how much healthier people are. Like, if you go somewhere in the South and you get somebody that's 75, 80 years old, comes into the ER, they're just about dead usually. You know what I mean? Like they're at the tail end of their life. Like they're not in good health. They're not getting around well, if at all. Like that's your 80-year-old in the South. But you go somewhere where people actually take care of themselves, man, there's 80-year-olds that are thriving. Hell, they're out there on a damn pickleball court. Like it's amazing the cultural differences. Like we just, here in the South, and these are my people, man. I'm proud to be from the South. But boy, we don't take care of ourselves. I had to go to Walmart the other day, and I gave up Walmart this year. I've told that story in other videos, but I do still have to go back. I've got this thing all tangled up. I do have to go back about once a month to Walmart because I have to get bird seed, and I'll go ahead and get they have them big packs of bottled water, so I'll get those there. Aldi doesn't sell Heinz 57, so I have to get that at Walmart, even though they were out this past time I went. They're always out of something. So anyway, there's a few things that I still get at Walmart, but I go about once a month. I've cut way back. I went in there the other day, and man, you talk about some people watching. They were doing their grand opening, which makes no damn sense. The Walmart in my hometown has been there my entire life. They've changed buildings a few times, but this building that they're currently in is the same building they've been in for 20 years or more. But they just had a grand opening again because they redid the floors. They redid the floors and they changed around some of the location of where items were kept. And so now it's, oh. We got something happening here. This left rod. Has he got it? This is is a bycatch, unless it's a channel cat. We wasn't trying to catch this fish. I don't have a clue what it is yet. Oh, it's a channel cat. Tiny old channel cat. You know what, Channel Kitty? I was starting to change my opinion on y'all, because up there on Sandusky Bay, them channel cats up there get big. They're actually a good time. Down here, back down south, you catch a channel cat, this is more likely what you're getting. I'm gonna have to get the pliers on that hook too. Up there on Sandusky Bay, they grow them big, buddy. There we go. Now we just rebaited. You done got our worm. But anyway, local Walmart, they redid the floors. They moved stuff, so now you can't hardly find nothing. And now they call it a grand opening. They had some vendors set up out there. They was giving people cupcakes. And they had this stage when you walked in on the grocery side. They had this stage set up. And there was somebody in a Pillsbury Doughboy suit. Like a costume. Taking pictures with people. And listen, when I was a kid, even when I was a kid, why the hell would I have wanted a picture with the Pillsbury Doughboy? That don't make any sense. I mean, it's a Pillsbury Doughboy. But as a kid, if it was somebody cool dressed up, like a Santa Claus or a Batman or something, of course I wanted a picture with them. But now as a grown-ass adult, I'm like, who is the type of person that's going to dress up in a Pillsbury Doughboy costume and take pictures with random strangers? Like, what kind of person is going to do that? It's probably going to be some weirdo. So, like, I don't want to have any interaction with that. But anyway, I walk into Walmart. And Walmart's always a place to go if you're into people watching. I mean, just walking around the store looking at people, incredible. But there was people there getting their picture with the damn Pillsbury Doughboy. And they had the stage set up and these balloons and whatnot, and all the, I guess the Walmart brass are there. And I'm looking at these people, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, man. You know, most of them just there to get their free cupcake that they were giving out. And I'm like, and of course it's the people that don't need no damn cupcake. That's who's getting them. Like, they've had a few too many cupcakes already. I'm like, man, Walmart's just... And you know, and they got this grand opening. You know what they didn't have? They didn't have any Heinz 57, they were out. And you know what else they didn't have? They didn't have any damn cashiers in that place. It's like, y'all spending all that damn money to redo the floors and change around stuff on the aisles. I was like, why don't you spend that money and hire some cashiers so that when you actually do go to Walmart, you can check out in a reasonable time without having to go to a self-checkout. I don't like the self-checkout. I will go if I have to. I do not like going to self-checkout. I don't work for Walmart. I don't feel like I should have to ring up my own stuff. I had saw another interesting story. I don't know if this happened at Walmart or another store, but this woman was getting blistered online. You know how the social media is. I can speak to it firsthand experience of the hell I catch every time I say or do anything on this channel. Well, this woman was catching flack because she didn't take her buggy back to the buggy corral location. She said she never did because she was fearful somebody was going to steal her kids. I don't know if kidnapping is still a thing or not. That would be another thing that's kind of, in the modern day technology, would be harder to get by with. But she was fearful of it, so she didn't return her shopping cart. And people were lighting her up for it. And I've known some people through the years that won't turn their carts in because they're like, well, you know what? I don't work for Walmart. I don't work for the grocery store. I shouldn't have to take my cart back. Aldi at least incentivizes you. Now, I don't use a shopping cart. When I go to Aldi, I take my bags in, and I take 2 bags. I get my groceries, I put them in 1 bag. And then when we get up to the cash register, I unload that. I stick my empty bag here as I'm unloading the bag that's got the groceries. So if I got a cashier at Aldi worth a damn, they'll put my groceries into that bag as they scan them. Sometimes that happens, sometimes they don't. Depends on who you get. Some of them are assholes, just like anywhere else in life. But I mean, I've known people that won't take their, I normally take it back. Unless it's pouring down rain or something, I take it back. I totally back the people who don't want to take it back. I get it. Because again, you could pay somebody a minimum wage job, create a job. And I think Walmart has people that goes out and gets the buggies. Back in the day when I worked at Kmart as a cashier, this was been 98, I guess. Yeah, 98. I was a cashier at the Kmart, my first job, age 16. They would have us cashiers go out. We would close down our register for a little while. We'd go out and get the buggies and bring them back in. But either way, collecting buggies, minimum wage job. It's like, can you not have somebody out there in the parking lot to go get buggies all day? Like, is it that, are companies hurting that bad they can't pay somebody $10 an hour to go out there and get the damn buggies? Because half the time you go to one of these stores, the buggies are overflowing the corral area there because nobody's been out to get them in days. You go up Knoxville, there's buggies everywhere up there that the homeless use. They just walk off and steal them damn things. So you would think the money that these companies lose in stolen shopping carts from the homeless, you would think that money that they save would pay for somebody to go out and collect them, bring them back in the store. What do I know? That poor woman, man, she was getting lit up on there. It went viral. And, oh, there was another carp that come up out there. I saw him. That was definitely a carp. He was orange. They're out there in that area, man. They're feeding. We've put out so much pack bait in that area now. Like now it's just a matter of them finding our hook. The left rod right there is getting hit too. It was. See, I kind of felt bad for a woman, but then at the same time too, it's like, why are you saying that online? I think it was a TikTok or something. Like it ain't like she's a big time TikToker or anything. I think she's just a random person. Like, why are you putting that out there on a TikTok? I know people say the same thing when I get pissed off or people come at me for stuff on here. Like, well, you shouldn't have said it, or you shouldn't have done it, blah, 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 blah. And there's some truth to that. I get it. But I also do this for a living. So it's just one of those parts of the job, like any job that you have, that there's just things about it you don't like. But if I was just, just doing TikToks as a hobby or something, first off, I wouldn't be. But I don't, you can see both sides of it. She set herself up for it, but some of the reaction she's getting. People get so pissed off over the littlest things anymore. Like, I don't understand and I guess part of it in that situation is people, they go to pull into a parking space and there's a buggy sitting there. Or a buggy rolls into their car or something and causes that. Well, I get it. But like me, and maybe because I'm not a lazy fat ass, when I go to a parking lot, like, I don't drive around the parking lot all day trying to get a spot right up front. Like, I don't. Like, I'll pull into a parking lot and I'm coming up the aisle, and let's say the aisle's halfway full of cars. I'll get down here at the halfway mark below them cars and pull in there. Like, I don't drive around all day looking for a spot closest to the door. Like, I'll walk. So I'm never around buggies like that. For somebody to put a buggy where I'm at, they've had to walk past 3 of the buggy corral areas. But when people online though, man, they was ticked off at her. If it's online, somebody's going to be mad at it. You could have a story of somebody doing charity work, something good for humanity. Somebody's going to have a problem with it. Here's another story I'd seen online. Well, I've seen a few stories like this, but I'd seen another one recently. And people are all tore up about this too. And I, for the life of me, I'm trying, and I guess because I'm not a parent. I mean, I'm a parent to Daphne the dog, kinda. I'm not a very good parent to her, but I'm a parent. But like for actual children, I don't have any kids. So I guess I'm looking at it from a different viewpoint than actual parents. But this is a hot topic. Every time these stories pop up online, and I've seen a few of them. I saw another one here recently. Let's see if I can get you all positioned here to watch these rods as I kick back and relax a little bit. Maybe we ain't gonna relax long because this line just jumped right here. We're due for a fish, man. We're past due. They're still out there. I've seen them come up, but we're just not getting bit right now. That line jumped, but nothing. How long's it been since we had a fish? I mean, the channel cat come a little while ago. That don't count. It's been a hot minute. Is this... There's stuff around our lines, man. Like that rod right there is wiggling a little bit. Hell, at this point, I wouldn't mind another channel cat just to reel something in. Well, they'll bite again eventually. Anyhow, the story was, it was another teacher that got caught having an OnlyFans page. And, hang on, now this line jumped again, it went slack. Something hit that line, it went slack over here. They're teasing us, man. They're teasing us like them teachers on the OnlyFans. But these teachers, they don't make crap for pay. None of them. Nowhere in the country. These teachers, they don't make anything. There's a huge teacher shortage nationwide because nobody wants to do a job that's... Has he got it? I think he's got it. This may be another bycatch right here. Hold on the OnlyFans teacher story. I'm gonna give a take on this. It's probably gonna piss some people off. I think we got another channel cat or something here. It's small, whatever it is. Maybe a bluegill. Them small hooks can get to the bluegill if they get it just right. I think it's probably gonna be a channel cat. Oh, no, it's not. We got us a turtle. What kind? Is it a slider? Okay, slider. It's like I ain't bringing no snapper up in here, but I'll save us a slider. Come here, little buddy. I caught one the last time I was out here. I like turtles. I hate putting hooks in them. Come on. If you'd take a bath, you'd actually be a good-looking turtle here. His shell looks like army camouflage right there. Where you got that hook at, buddy? Where's it at? I see it. Can I have it back? Don't hiss at me. I'm trying to help you. There we go. We got you. We got you covered. Here, hold yourself up here. Tell these people hi. Look at his shell. Look at the colors on that, man. You're a good-looking turtle. You know it. You're a good-looking turtle. Quit fighting me off, turtle. I'm trying to give you some camera time here. Turn you around this way. Did you just try to bite me? I think he tried to bite me. Look at him. He's trying. I saved you from having a hook in your mouth, and this is how you want to do me. That is an ornery turtle. Don't bite me. You old thing. He is a cute turtle though, ain't he? I love his shell color. I mean, it's like a camo. That's cool. You need to take a bath though, turtle. You got mud all over you. Let's get you out of here. Go on. I like turtles. Always have. I try to, anytime I don't see box turtles very often, but I try to stop if I can and get them out the road. He got her worm. In addition to getting a hook in the mouth, he got her worm too. I'm gonna put another worm on and I'm gonna tell you my OnlyFans story here and see if I can run some more of yous off. I've had a lot of people be pissed off lately over these long videos I'm posting. They seem to hate my guts about it. Long-time viewers that like me to do things a certain way, upset that I don't do things a certain way anymore, so they're writing me these essays and blasting me, which doesn't make me more motivated to do the type of videos they like. It actually makes me feel like I've made the correct decision to do the type of videos I want to do. And the only thing it makes me regret really is the fact that I've answered a ton of their comments in the past, when in reality they just have always been looking for a reason to hate me, apparently. If me posting the type of videos I want is what set them off, you know what I mean? Like, I should have never wasted time on them to begin with. But anyway, I'm gonna piss some more people off when I give my OnlyFans story here, because I'm talking about something that's not in my scope. I'm not staying in my lane here because I don't have any kids, at least none that I'm aware of. So I don't really have a dog in this race, but I'm gonna give an opinion on it. And it probably won't, it definitely don't fit in with the opinions online. But we gotta talk about something out here. Hang on, we got a fish. We got a real fish this time. This one here ain't a turtle. If this is a turtle, he's a hitting it and getting it, buddy. Boy, it's been a long time since we'd had a carp. We've just been going through a little lull. They've been out there, we've seen them, but they just hadn't found our baits. I probably need to start putting on significantly less pack bait at this point, because there's probably so much out there they're having to sort through. They got so much to eat out there, they're just probably not finding ours as easily. Of course, with that many carp that we've seen come up too, it probably won't take them very long to eat it. This is definitely what we're trying to get. Turtle is an accidental catch. I ain't never trying to catch a turtle. I'm glad we was able to get that hook out of him easily though. I don't ever want to hurt a turtle. He thankfully had that hook right on the tip of the mouth there, easy to get, even though he was trying his best to bite me. Well, this fish right here has been very good with how he has swam. He has not come close to getting in any other line. You just keep up that good behavior, fish. If this fish was in school, he'd be student of the month. He'd be on an honor roll. Yep, that's carp. May have been one we seen pop up out there. I guess I can't convince you to grab a net for me, can I? I'll probably have to do it my dang self. Let's get our worms and pack bait bag out the way. Okay. Let's try to land him right here, if we can. If he will allow such a thing. Oh, goodness gracious, I missed him in the net. Got him. That's a pretty good one, man. That's a pretty good one right there, folks. We'll give that in some front camera time. Nice. Where have you been, Carp? I've been wanting to catch ones for a while now. We've had a dry spell. We've had a funk going on. I thought it was going to be on like Donkey Kong when we got going there, and it was pretty good for a minute, but slacked off there, did it? Let me put y'all up here in the front seat again. Get your 35mm camera out. Oh. Boy, this fish says if I can't get a picture with him with a digital camera, he don't want it. He ain't into that old school photography stuff, is he? You're really out of luck anyway, fish, because that sun's behind us. You ain't getting a good picture with me. And I've busted his lip there too. He'll never forgive me. That fish, he'll have it in for me for the rest of his days. He got me splashed in the face. All right. There's another one there on the pink. Pink corn, no worm. I thought for sure, man, we'd have a chance at some more buffalo today with them worms, but either they ain't been here in good numbers or they just ain't wanted the worm today. With us only having got that one, it's definitely not been a day like we had there that last trip out. But I've had a good day nonetheless so far, man. It's been a... Now that sun's peeked through this opening in the trees, it's on my neck and it's feeling hot. Our time together here this morning's winding down quickly, folks, is what I'm getting at. The hotter it gets, the less motivated I am. I'd rather it be hot than cold, though. Where'd my worms go? Oh, there they are. Oh, that's the one we ain't even putting worms on. I don't know why I'm looking for it. And then I'm going to tell you this damn OnlyFans. I'll put that hook through the bag. There we go. At least we've made use of our pack bait that was starting to get moldy from being in my car all week. There we go. Okay. But anyway, these stories pop up, and I'm sure y'all have seen them time and time again, of these teachers. They'll have them on OnlyFans where they're putting provocative pictures of themselves up and charging a monthly fee. And they do this oftentimes because, well, they ain't making nothing teaching your children the ABCs there at school. They ain't making no money. Teachers, and some of you watch my videos overseas and whatnot, but here in America, teachers don't make diddly doo-doo. It's a well-respected profession, but we don't treat it as, oh, here we go. All right, folks, here we go. This one's gonna run. This one's a runner. We got a seine bolt here. He's way out there too, buddy. I see him on the, I see the wake he's putting off up there on the surface. These fish don't want me telling this story. They know I'm gonna piss some people off. They don't want me getting it out, apparently. he get? I think he went right over it and didn't get in it. Well, we have been lucky today. When these fish have went through my other lines, they have went over or under, but not got in them. We have been really lucky. This one has managed to go over 2 lines now. He went over one and under this one. Oh, we got a stick back here too. We gotta hopefully not get him in. Turn, fish, turn. Oh, turn. That's another good one, man. That's a good one right there. Oh, he's up under me now. Yeah, that's another good one. If y'all were fishing partners worth a damn, you'd already have him netted. Trying to keep control of him here while I get us the net. Let's see if I can go this way. Let's see what we can do here. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Oh, got him. Boy, that's another solid fish, buddy. That's another solid fish right there. Oh, y'all, look at that. Nice, man. Went over one line, under the next, and somehow or another didn't get tangled up in either one of them. Some days, folks, it's just your day. I've had a lot of days where it ain't my day, but we've had some good fortune this morning. Okay, let me get this hook out right quick. Okay, we got it. Nice. Let's hold this thing up. There we go. Nice, man. Look at that orange on his tail there, bottom fin. He's got some more there on the bottom of his tail too. You're a pretty good looking carp. You got any mirror friends out there today? You seen any of them swimming around? He ain't gonna tell me. He ain't gonna tell me nothing. He said he's a carp, not a rat. He ain't like some of these school children that rat out their teachers on the interweb. Let's get that out the way. Nice, man. Okay, we had a lull, and now it seems to kind of, it's 2 now pretty quickly, in addition to the turtle. So, you know, we had that little lull, and things are picking back up here. We got something going on with the camera. We may have to, this video may not end up being completely uncut because we may have to switch out a battery. You know what, I bet it was? Normally my camera battery pack gets about 4 hours. Today I had that damn camera on just in case a fish hit before I started filming. And I bet I've run down part of my camera time. So we'll have to switch battery at some point. That'd be all right. Okay. I ain't gonna put as much pack bait on this time. This right here will be plenty because we got a bunch out there, and we'll stick some worm on it. We might get us another big fish. This is fun, y'all. When they biting like this, man, it's a good time. I love seeing them rods double over. And, you know, I've got my drag set loose anyway, especially on those initial runs, because you don't want to rip the hook out of their mouth on that initial run, because they pull so hard right off the get-go. But when you hear that drag stripping and the rod's doubled over, like that's part of the fun of carp fishing. Just, I mean, that excitement of it. I find it exciting anyway. This worm here, he ain't too into it. He thinks he don't find it exciting at all. We don't care what that damned old worm thinks, though, do we? Okay. Well, let's try again for this teacher story. So anyway, you see pictures on the internet and these stories and whatnot of these girls that are teachers that don't make diddly doo-doo at their jobs. They're not appreciated at all. Most of the teachers that I have known personally have had second jobs. Either they work in the summer months doing something different, or they have part-time jobs during the school year. So they're doing a full-time job and then having to work a side hustle just to get by because they don't make crap for money. Not to mention the fact that they're in schools that are underfunded and overcrowded. Most of the teachers that I've known have had to buy their own school supplies, stuff for their rooms and whatnot. Like, that's coming out of their own pocket. Like, it's a bad job. And anybody that wants to be a school teacher, hey, my hat's off to you, man. I don't know why you would want to, but if it's your calling in life and you want to do it, boy, we should be thankful to have them. That's my thoughts on it. Now, again, these school teachers, a lot of them are having to do second jobs to make ends meet. Not to live a luxurious lifestyle, to just get by. When these school teachers make $35,000, $40,000 a year, like, you know, I mean, come on. Well, I mean, of course, they deserve better. And some of them, the good-looking ones, maybe some ugly ones too, I don't know, they have started selling provocative pictures of themselves online. And I ain't suggesting that anybody should have to go do this to get by as a school teacher. I'm not even saying that you should necessarily want to do that. But if you've got a body that people are willing to pay to see, and you're comfortable with it as a human being, it shouldn't affect your standing in the school. If it's not affecting your job, you know, and look, I get it. These school kids today, they all got cell phones, even though they probably shouldn't have. They're on social media. They're on these adult sites they shouldn't be on. They see their teacher, ha, it's funny, word spreads. Mrs. Anderson or whoever is got pictures online. But if it don't affect her job, I don't see the big deal in it. In fact, when I was in school, hell, all my teachers when I was in school were old and ugly. Hell, I would have been happy to have one that looked good. I don't understand the big deal, but boy, every time you see one of these stories online, the teachers got fired. There's been public outcry about it. The parents are upset. As if they, you know, and here's the thing, it's such a hypocrisy because these parents that are upset, they're trying to pretend that they ain't looking at that stuff online themselves. Like you know, everybody's got something that trips their trigger, folks, okay? That's just, it's human. It's humanity. There's some people more perverted than others, obviously. There's some sickos out there. But as long as these teachers, as long as they're not preying on your children, and the stories that I've seen online, it's not that at all. It's just the teacher is selling provocative pictures, some parent or child finds out about it, word spreads, and the next thing you know, they're canned. There's nothing to do with them and the children. Here we go. Another big run on the worm. That one was not out there long at all, was it? That was the one we had very little pack bait on. Very little pack bait and the worm. Keep going to the left, fish. Right now he's going straight and to the left. That's where we want you to go, good buddy. You go that way, we're fine. We do got some kind of marker stick or something over here, some shallow water marker. But we're good on it right now. This one feels solid too, buddy. Well, I should have started telling this story sooner because we've been interrupted numerous times since we got going with this. Who knew me talking about teachers would have boosted the fishing right here. It turned the fishing on and they didn't even have to look at their pictures. Boy, he's coming at me now. Is this another buffalo? Is this another one? Nope, just a big carp. I got a glimpse of him in the glare there. I thought it was a buffalo for a second. Let's get our net. Let's see what we can do here. Can we get him first try? First one today. This is a solid fish, man. Oh, he saw that net and turned. He saw it and turned. He said he didn't want no part of that. Something about seeing that net, buddy. They do not like it. Boy, he is not done. Oh, I missed him again. Boy, I tell you, as soon as they see it, they're going the other way. Oh. Get in there. There you go, buddy. Yes, this is another good fish right here, man. Boy, look at that, folks. That's another good one. On the worm. Worm. Oh, hang on, fish, hang on. I gotta leave you set in a second. We got the middle rod going down. Boy, that outside rod on the right, man, nothing wants it today. These two middle rods have got the action. What is this? Is this this may be a channel cat or a buffalo. It almost felt like there was rolling. It felt like it was just like a blue cat roll. We'll see when we get him up here. We're gonna leave this, we're gonna get him up close and leave him in the water while we deal with our other one. I just wanna get a look at him, see what he is. Nope, he's a carp. Smaller carp. Okay, well, let's leave him sitting there a second. I'm gonna set y'all up here. Let's get this one undone finally. Thanks for being patient, carp. Appreciate you. Nice of you to be so patient today. Oh. Well, I may have spoke too soon on the patience. Oh, that hook went in twice. Oh, what a pain. I take back everything I said about you, carp. There it came. Got it back out the first hole. There we go. It went in and then went in again. He was not going anywhere. This fish here, he's a good one. He wasn't coming free. Okay, buddy. Another one, man. Another good quality right there. The other one swims that direction. That one, the second one's not as big as this one. Got knob on his head right there. Oh, knot head. Get out of here. We'll get him going. Let's, tell you what, let's just set this one behind us out of the way for a second. And since this one's gone to the left, we'll just net him over here, won't we? And this one's significantly smaller right here. He's still wound up though, ain't he? You think I'll get him in the net easily? Probably not. Going on the hot pink. Oh, he just threw my corn off. There he goes floating. He broke my hair rig stop. You old fish, why'd you do that for? I see him floating there. Crap. We'll just tie on another rig in a minute. I keep them all ready to go. Makes it easier than having to put them on as we lose them, which I don't really lose that plastic bait very often. They're drifting that way too, of course. All right, carp, come here. I forgive you, even though you've caused us a little bit of trouble here. Oh, this is another one-eye right here. He's fine on that side. Just wonder if this is the same one-eye one that I caught. Was it the last trip out here I got one with one eye? I caught one with one eye on a recent trip. I can't remember when it was. But like it's closed over, like he never had an eye right there. I don't know if that's the same fish or not. I can't remember when it was or where it was. I can't remember. Y'all know I can't half remember anything anymore. I'm lucky to know what day it is. All right, well, let's send the first rod back out. Let's do this. We'll send the first rod back out. We will get us another rig on this rod that I guess he broke the hair stop. It's a little piece of plastic hair stop. Yeah, he did. He broke it right there. And that corn just slid right off. You know what we could do, actually? Here's what I'm thinking we're going to do. Bear with me a second. Let's set this over here. Definitely want to get this one back out. We got some fish that are feeding over here, and I want to feed them. The sun behind me here is beating on my neck, so our time together is winding down, folks. I'll maybe give it another 30 minutes to an hour here. And I'm going to head home for the air condition today. Let's get this on, put another worm on. I'm going to take the rod on the right that's not been getting any action at all today. I'm going to reel it in, we'll rebait. We'll cast it here in the middle, and we'll take our rod that don't currently have any corn at all on it, we'll just put a worm on it, send it back out. That'll save time from having to rebait or to retie. Try to be as efficient as possible out here, especially since we're not going to fish but another half hour or so. I'm trying to get as many many as we can. I didn't cast that as far as I wanted to, but probably be okay. Something will find it over there, won't it? Hell, at this point, they probably hear it hit. It's like ringing a dinner bell for them. Let's see if something had stole our worm off this one. I'm gonna go ahead and put a worm, even though we've not been using a worm on the center rod, I'm gonna go ahead and put one on, even with this corn, because I mean, I feel like we're catching a bunch of fish on the worm, so might as well. Got plenty of worms, might as well use them. Paid $5 a tub for these things. There we go. Okay. Yeah, we'll just throw this one in the middle, by gosh. Okay, got it back out. Now, we'll just use a worm on a hook on this. I still will put some pack bait on it just because. That'll help draw them in, and then we'll just have the worm there. I like the idea of having a plastic bait on with the worm. Just because when I fished, I did a recent trip with some blueberries. And I had a hook, nothing else. I just hooked the blueberry. When the blueberry would get hit and ripped off the hook, you wouldn't necessarily know. And so you could be sitting out there with an empty hook, not even know it. Whereas if at least if you've got your worm or blueberry or whatever bait you're fishing with, if you've got it on the hook in addition to a plastic bait, at least if the worm or whatever gets eaten, you've still got another bait down there for them. So you're not down there fishing on credit. All right, back in the game, folks. Got 3 rods out. We got pack bait left, worms left. We got this sun beaming up behind us up here, making it miserable hot already. It's just that time of year, man. It's just about 10 o'clock in the day now. It's just miserable. Come wintertime, though, we'll be missing days like this. But yeah, y'all, so these teachers, man, my thought on it is, and again, this is my opinion, blast me for it if you want. I don't have any children, so it's not like I'm sending my kids to school with these monsters that dare sell pictures of their body. But I just don't think I would care. As long as they weren't doing something perverted, as long as they weren't preying on children, like, what do I care? You know, they're grown-ass adults. If they're into it or if they can make money off of it, who the hell am I to judge? It don't affect their job. As long as it don't affect their job, what do I care? I just don't see the big deal in it. I mean, first off, I don't feel like they should have to do that anyway. They ought to make a reasonable wage to where they shouldn't have to have a side hustle. But just because they do, and I know they always get them on some kind of moral or ethical thing, right? That's what there's always some clause in their job description that ultimately gets them. But it's like, man, it's 2024. These school children, they all got cell phones. They've all got access to adult sites 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Man, when I was a kid, you wanted to look at something, you had to have a friend with a magazine. A 1984 Playboy with Vanna White or something. Like, that's what you had when I was a kid. Nowadays, these kids, man, they don't have to work for it at all. They just got to open up their phone. And all these sites, man, you click on it, says, by clicking on this, you agree that you're at least 18. Well, come on. I mean, all of them kids are going to click that they're 18. So they're seeing far worse stuff than their teacher all the time. And hell, these teachers, they're not giving it away for free. It's behind a paywall. So I just don't see the big deal in it, and the outrage that they're all experiencing. And the fact is, and here's the other way of looking at this, when they get fired and it makes a national news story, I bet you it helps them, because it's free advertisement. You know what I mean? Like, it's free advertisement for their pictures and stuff. So they might be losing, you're punishing them in a sense by taking their job away as a school teacher. But I bet you they're replacing that income instantly by all the media exposure. So from a financial perspective, you're not punishing them, but just from a personal perspective, I mean, most of these teachers that have gotten canned, most of them are making more money selling their pictures than they are at the teaching job. They're continuing to teach because it's what they love to do. And if you have somebody who has a way to make more money than what you're paying them, and they choose to stay at that job because it's what they love to do, isn't that the kind of person you want teaching your children? Somebody that actually loves it versus somebody that's just clocking in and out because it's their job? So I just think it's stupid. I mean, now again, it's one thing, like if they're into kids stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that's weird. Like, definitely that shouldn't be around children. But teachers are humans too. They're adults too. It's 2024. Like, it's not so taboo anymore. This ain't the 1970s, 1980s. Like, it's okay. But my hat's off to them, man. Again, I ain't encouraging nobody to be selling pictures of themselves, but like, if you're comfortable with it and you have something to look at that people's willing to pay for, hell, go for it. I ain't gonna judge you. I mean, we all got a I've talked about this numerous times. We've all got a responsibility to ourselves in this life to make ourselves happy. Nobody's gonna make you happy. You gotta be happy on your own. If you're dependent on other people or society to make you happy, you're gonna live a miserable existence. You gotta do you. And so these girls, if they got it and they're willing to flaunt it and it's able to provide a life for themselves that they can't get doing the job that they had wanted to do as a school teacher, why, hell, go for it. And I'm saying school teacher in this example. There's other jobs too, same way. But the ones that always makes the national media is the school teachers. Anytime a school teacher gets canned because it got brought up at a PTA meeting, and it shouldn't be getting, it shouldn't be getting brought up no PTA meeting. It ain't like they're in there advertising. They're not giving out a QR code to all the kids in the school. Like, somebody was on that site that shouldn't have been on that site and found them. That's how they get caught. It ain't like they advertising in the schoolhouse. Somebody was snooping around. And it's like them people, they're on there, they own them sites snooping around, and they're like, oh, well, that's Mrs. Rodriguez there, Johnny's little 4th grade teacher. They're on them sites perusing themselves, and then they get all judgmental and stuff. Because how dare Johnny's school teacher be on here? It's like, your perverted ass was on there to begin with. like you're any better. At least the girl that's on there is getting paid for it. You're over there paying to see it. So that's my stance on it, man. I'm okay with it. Again, I don't have children. I don't have any kids. Probably never will. So this will never pertain to me personally. But I just have to believe if I did, I wouldn't give a damn. I may get on there and spend $10 a month or something if she's hot, just to see Johnny's little 4th grade teacher. But I mean, I don't see the big deal in it. But it's another one of them things, man. It's a polarizing topic, and people on the internet who are not affected one iota, these people that are commenting and blasting these girls, they don't even have kids in the class. Like usually it'll be 1 or 2 parents that are just in an uproar, and all these other people pile on social media, and it don't affect them at all. Like it's not their school system, it's not their kids. They're just lashing out because they ain't got shit else to do with their lives. And I'm like, get a damn life. Go do something. Go for a walk. Go buy a dog, man. These animal shelters, they're overrun with animals. Go buy a dog. Go buy a cat. Do something with your life. Don't get online and argue with people all day. Hell, I think half my damn YouTube comment box is just people wanting to argue. Like, why? You're not going to convince anybody when you're in an online argument. You're not going to convince anybody of your side. They're not going to convince you of their side. It's a clash. It's just a waste of time. And, you know, if that's what trips your trigger, hey, you know, who the hell am I to tell you? But most of the people that are doing this, it's not like something that gets them there in a good way. You know, it's not like it makes them happy. They're all miserable human beings. Every time I meet somebody that's that kind of person, they're always just miserable, nasty human beings. Look, why do you want to be that way? And if you know it brings out the worst in you, why do you keep subjecting yourself to it? It's like putting your hand on a hot stove. Sure, when you're a kid, you might do it once because you don't know any better. But after you put your hand on that eye of the stove and it burns you, you know what? I don't do that anymore. When the stove's on, I don't touch it. That's not something you have to tell a kid twice. He learns his lesson one time, you're good. But yet, as grown-ass adults, you get online, you see this stuff, it pisses you off, it triggers you. Why do you keep going back to it? But they do. Day after day, week after week, they keep going back to it. And I don't know that I'm one to talk because my comment box pisses me off all the time, and yet I keep going back. There was another fish that come up right there. I shouldn't. I need to post and ghost like Joe Rogan says. But there's so many people I've gotten to kind of know in the comment box a little bit. I hate to say sayonara to those people, but the day may come. I may have to get to that point because I do get tired of sifting through the cesspool to get to the good people that I like. Especially this time of year in the summer months when views go up, you get a lot more of the stupidness. Stupidness ain't even a word, but I get so stupid from being in the comment box, it makes me say words that don't make no sense. But that's one of them things, like I'm getting on to people about it, that triggers me, it pisses me off, and yet I do it anyway. So I'm no better than the people that I'm calling out, but the point of it all is, and like you understand, I think what I'm trying to say, is if something bothers you, stop doing it. Stop putting yourself in that situation. I think it was Dr. Phil one time went on a thing about this. It was some woman kept going back to a man that was doing her wrong, and he was like, what are you getting out of this? Like, you're getting something. You're getting something out of it. You wouldn't keep going back. You need to, evaluate yourself and figure out what that is and fix that problem. we're about to fix the problem of not getting a fish right here. Has he got it? He took it over and I saw the wake out there. I think he let it go though. Let's crank down a little bit there. He knocked some slack in it. Folks, he's got it. My line's swimming. Let's jerk his jaw. He knows he's hooked now, by gosh. I thought he had dropped it. I went to tighten down the line. I saw it was swimming to the right. Y'all should have hollered at me and told me to pick up that rod. You should have said, Justin, he's got it. You can't rely on me, folks. I'm sitting here telling stories and stuff. I ain't half paying attention to what's going on. One of these days you'll learn just to don't rely on me at all. Just grab a dang rod. Here I do bring you fishing with me all the time. I can't ever get you a real one in. I don't know what this one is yet, really. Oh, he's a carp. I saw him. He's orange. Another one on the left rod. Man, that right rod. I don't know why we can't get bit over there. It's not like it's that far off from where we're fishing here. But I mean, it's not been messed with at all today. Didn't seem to make a whole big bunch of difference between the yellow corn and the pink corn either. The pink corn that didn't even have a worm on it there on that middle rod for the longest time, it was catching a bunch of fish too. I mainly just wanted to do one rod today without the worm, just because on that last session, I was catching buffalo and then I ran out of worms and started catching carp. So I thought, I'm gonna mix them up today. That way, if there's both of them in here, but these today, I mean, these carp haven't cared at all about the worms. I mean, they've been gobbling them up, so. And that last trip, we got him on the first try right there, folks. How about that? I'm getting better. This one here, solid fish, not quite as big. He's probably in that 7, 8 pounds range, maybe bigger, maybe 10 pounds, I don't know. Solid fish either way, but just a little bit smaller than some of the other ones we've got today. Hey, easy, easy, carp. Let me get hold of that thing now. Let me get that thing out of you. Oh crap, hold on, my power pole's come loose. I shifted my weight and the dang pole come loose. About threw me overboard, carp. I blame you for that, carp. Oh, you've got that hook in a bad way right there, carp. Let me see if I can get it. Get it right there, maybe. Got it right through that bottom, kind of right behind that. Goodness gracious. There it comes. Okay. Easy, easy. Easy, easy, George and Wheezy. You know what, carp? If this is how you're going to act, you about to just, you know what? You're going over just like that, by gosh. We got rid of him quick. If he's going to act that way, heck with him. We deserve better with how we've done these carp today. Getting them on this video, making them famous like we have. For them to treat us like that. Now we've got our corn. It's in my daggone net right here. There we go. Got my hair rig all. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, hey, that's another one, man. I tell you, we had a lull for what, 30 minutes? An hour, maybe? And since then, it's been pretty daggone consistent again. I guess, and it wasn't like we stopped seeing fish during that time that we wasn't getting bit. I think maybe they were just, maybe we had so much bait out there, they just wasn't finding our hooked bait. I don't know. I'm not putting much on this one, though. I don't really have to at this point. The last few we put out's had very little on, and they're finding it. Boy, that's a big worm right there, big fat one. Big juicy worm. You remember that wrestler, the Boogeyman? WWE? He'd come out to the ring, he'd have a mouthful of worms. I couldn't, I'd puke. I couldn't do it. I don't know what a worm tastes like, but there's no way. I like gummy worms. I ain't had any in a long time. I almost bought some on my Ohio road trip. Well, gummy bears anyway. I went to Buc-ee's up there and stopped and got some snacks. And they had a whole wall of snacks, of course, and they had gummy bears up there. And I almost got some gummy bears. But while I could eat a gummy worm, I don't think I could eat an actual worm. Especially a whole mouthful of them that's alive and crawling around with the boogeyman. I'm the boogeyman, and I'm gonna get you. I'm surprised they didn't use him more back in the day. It seemed like he got a very good run in WWE for as good a character as he was. He would have probably been better if his character had been around in like my childhood, back when everything was more of a gimmick back in the day. In the later years, his character, I guess, didn't really fit the Attitude Era, they called it. Back in the 80s, though, he would have fit in just fine. You could have had him and Papa Shango on a team together, a tag team. Or him and Kamala. That would have been another good partner for him. That may be what I do this afternoon while I'm laying in the air conditioner and pull up some old 1980s wrestling matches. Can't watch the new stuff, but I'll watch the old stuff. I think that was a carp right there, maybe. Where are we at here, folks? Boy, we're in the dang red. I'm gonna have to get a battery out here. My battery pack's dead. I guess in the future, if we do this situation where we're waiting to start the trip until I've let the water calm down a little bit where I've worked in an area, I may have to wait to turn the camera on. I thought I'd have it ready today in case the rod went down, I'd turn it on real quick. But apparently just having it on has run the battery down significantly. So bear with me a second here. I'm going to pop a new battery in. Okay, we are back in the game here. Hopefully the microphone's got enough battery to last. We are back in it though, folks. I'm gonna give it maybe 30 more minutes. It's hot. That sun, we had protection here with the trees first thing, but it's up there now and it's beating down on me. So it's getting miserable fast, folks. But I want to see if I can maybe catch another fish or two. We'll give it maybe 30 more minutes. And I'm gonna call it a day, go home, eat. I think I'm gonna I normally fix a steak every day, but I'm gonna fix one early today, I think. Well, good, the campers are getting the hell out of here. They finally woke up, I guess, partying all night. I don't know why they come in this creek. That's the first time I've fished here through the years, you know. That's the first time I've ever seen somebody camping back here in their boat. But there they are. They made a night of it. But the skeeters ate them alive. Yeah, I'm thinking of steak today, man. When I get home. Don't judge me for having a steak so early. This fish is gonna judge me. He's getting on that rod, buddy. He's after it. Here we go. Just like that, hooked up with another. Man, they're biting good, man. It's been a good day, man. We've had some productive numbers of fish out here. Took a while to get going. I know for video purposes it didn't, but I mean, I'd been out here about 30 minutes. And then we had that one break there midday, or middle of trip. But otherwise, I mean, we've had consistent action. We've had several fish. We've had some good quality carp, that one buffalo, one channel cat, one turtle. This one right here may actually be a buffalo. It is. We got another buffalo. We got us another one, folks. Yes. I don't think this one's very big, but I don't care. I just want to get one. That's one of the perks, I guess, of being so bad at buffalo fishing. I'm just thankful for every one I get. I've not reached that point where I have to have a certain size to be happy with it. Just any of them's a welcome sight. Come here, buffalo. Yeah, this one here's a smaller one. Not been a particularly good fight, although he'll show out when he gets up here by the net probably. Oh, yep, I knew it. I knew it. He's gonna try to get me all wet. He's actually bigger than I thought now that I got him in the net. He's much bigger than I thought, folks. This is another one that fooled me. Boy, he's wound up now. He's gonna have this thing slimed up, buddy. These are the slimiest fish. I think they're slimier than catfish. Did he get you all wet when he got me? Yeah, he did. Boy, he got water all over your lens right there. All over you, man. He got water all over my lens too. My shade's all covered up with water. Take a picture of me and this fish, would you? Somebody out there with flash photography, take a picture. This is a much better buffalo than I thought. He's unhooked himself. Thanks, fish. Easy, easy. Whew. Ornery. Okay, let's get a picture here before he flops again. Nice, man. He's bigger than I thought he would. I mean, he's still not huge, but he's bigger than I thought. That thing said I got a note popped up there on the front screen, says I got 10% battery in my microphone left. We got to remember in the future, buffalo, when we can't turn the camera on until we're ready to film, because we're going to get 4 hours, that's it. Get out of here. Oh, man, he splashed me good again. That was my fault the way I released him, but still. That fish got me sopping wet. My battery setup on these cameras was perfect for my normal trip. But a day like today, where, you know, I start filming after, I should have just not turned on the camera. But I think we did the right thing today as far as waiting, because most days it's not like, and granted, I've had some videos, carp videos recently, in these unedited ones where it's been on instantly. Most days it's not like that. Most days is more like today, where we had a lull first thing. I can't get this dang thing. He got my corn through my net. I don't know how he's done it. Okay, now I see. I actually think he ran it through numerous times somehow. Boy, that buffalo's got the last laugh on us. He went through multiple loops of the net. There it comes. That's fist pump worthy in itself, getting that thing out the dang net. I'm glad the campers were gone before they was able to see me struggle with that right there. Okay, let's clean our net off. Man, it's slimy things, man. When I get home today, first thing I gotta do is take this net out my car, because if it bakes in the heat all day with that slime on there, whew, you talk about a nasty stench of a smell the next time you get in your car. And I'm bad about that. Like, I get home, everything stays in my car. Not today. Not today. Throw back out there. Good thing with this, I talked about this, what day was it? My Hoover trip, I was ultralight fishing. I may or may not have posted that video. I filmed about 2 hours. My camera microphone died, and the internal microphone there with the camera took over immediately, so I didn't lose audio. So that was pretty cool. Little things like that just impress the hell out of me, because I've talked about before, but with GoPro, like, if something was wrong with your external mic, like, you didn't have any audio. You'd get home and it'd be you wouldn't have any sound, it'd be mute. This setup here, it's working much better for me. With this style of video anyway. It's been a big help. Here, y'all, what am I doing here? Y'all staring right at my crotch here when I stand up. Y'all gonna be reporting me to the school board. I ain't even a teacher. Speaking of crotch, that fish splashed me good. It's gonna look like I peed my pants. Okay. I feel like we got our money's worth out of these worms. The last tub of worms I've had, I felt like we got gypped. Like, I don't feel like we got the full amount of worms. But today, I feel like we got our money's worth. And I still got that other tub somewhere under my seat there. I had 2 tubs. I come out here today prepared. If we got on another buffalo bite like that last time out here, man, I was ready to partake. Boy, it's hot. It's miserable, y'all. And it's calm too. Like, it's hot and it's humid. And it's not nearly as bad as what's gonna be here in a few hours, but like, it's just, there's no air circulating at all. You know, in the wintertime when it's freezing cold, that wind will blow nonstop. But you get a hot day like this where you'd just kill to have you'd go Jeffrey Dahmer just to have a little bit of a breeze. Look here, look here. Oh, he still got it. Here we go. We got us another one. Is this another buffalo? I think it might be another buffalo. He's whiter in color. I think we got another one, y'all. Is it so the last trip, we caught all them buffalo, ran out of worms, and we started catching carp. And I thought it was because we were out of worms. Could it be that maybe the buffalo were here first thing last time, they moved out, the carp moved in, and now we've had a situation that we've been catching carp all morning. They moved out and here come the buffalo. Could that be it? Like, I don't know how frequently they are hanging out together. You're coming on this other side over here, buffalo. He says he's gonna go where he wants. Look at him. This is another one here. It appears to be smaller now. The last one appeared that way too until I netted him. These fish can fool you in the water. Come over here. I love these buffalo though. There's something about them. I don't know what it is. They don't fight as hard as a carp until you get them in the kayak, and then they don't want to be still for you. But I mean, pound for pound, a carp fights way harder. A carp fights, pound for pound, fights harder than most fish. Just being honest. But specifically buffalo, like, there's no comparison that carp fight significantly harder than the buffalo. But I'm still just fascinated with these fish. Maybe it's because I suck at it so bad. Okay, calm it down. I'm gonna hold you up this way. I ain't giving you front camera time, but at least we'll have you in the light looking this direction. Look at them eyes though, man. Just solid black eyes. Like looking into the soul of the devil right there, ain't you? He's happy to get out of here. He's done slimed up our net again. Look at that slime on there. Can y'all see that? I mean, it's just... I'll get out this afternoon to run Daphne on the bike this evening, and there'll be flies all over the floor of this kayak, man. They'll be everywhere. Just from all that slime that they've left. I'll have flies on the slime and ants everywhere I've dropped cut bait. Or pack bait. You know what I'm trying to say. It's hot. My brain's overheating. Let's get that slime off there. Man, what a good day. Bunch of fish. Now we're getting us some buffalo. I think it's a good day. This is great too. I mean, I like coming out and fishing early mornings anyway. But like, you can get out, catch you some fish, have you some fun. Then you got the whole rest of your day, man, when the hottest part of the day. And that's when the most people's out on the water, of course, too. Why the hell they want to be out at them hours, I don't know. They are. And they can have it, by gosh. Me and you'll be at the house. I'll get me a mid-afternoon nap, a little siesta. I'll open up the front door so Daphne can look out and she can take off after a squirrel if she sees them out there. And you ain't gonna believe this, man. I've been having 2 squirrels that have been pestering me up my bird feeders. Like, they're just there every day. And one of these squirrels has the biggest balls that I've ever seen on an animal that size. I mean, I'm not looking at squirrel balls or anything, but I'm just saying you can't not see him when he's hanging when he's hanging upside down from the bird feeder, just spread-legged in all his glory, and you see them meaty clackers right there, you're like, holy cow, like, how does he run so fast when Daphne's chasing him and them things are dragging the ground? But they're huge. But the other day, man, 5 squirrels out there. 5. They've invited all their friends and family. So Daphne got one a while back, and I felt bad for her. I don't feel bad anymore. Like, so now I leave that front door. The front door of my house is a glass door, and then you got the main door. So I'll prop that main door open, and she'll lay there and just look outside. Like, that's her TV set. She'll lay there just content until something walks up in the yard. And when them squirrels are out there, she'll get a little antsy. So I leave that glass door unlocked. That way I can run over there real fast and open the door and let her out, and she just bolts out there after them. I was letting her out the back door when I would see them, but I think when she would be running around the house, them squirrels would hear her collar jingling and they would know to run. But when it's out the front door, it's a it's a race, man. It's a true fair race between them. Them squirrels, to their credit, they're fast. And they can turn quickly too. They're a lot quicker on the turns than what Daphne is. She's one fast dog though. She ain't slowed down none either. I was looking at it the other day. It's been just over 2 years since I've had her, and they thought, I got her at the pound, they thought she was around 6 months old when I got her. 6 to 8 months, what the vet told us. So she's probably 2.5-ish years old right now. And she's about at that age where really the perfect age for a dog, in my opinion. Because we're mostly out of the puppy stage. She's not rolling around in crap anymore. She's not chewing up everything. She's not running off all the time anymore. Although she does run off too much. She ran off while I was mowing. But not like she was. But she's still, so she's old enough that she's out of the puppy stage, but she's young enough that she's still got a bunch of energy. And if you want to go outside and play in the yard with her, you can. If I want to go out and hop on the electric bike and race her around the yard, we can. So she's really at that perfect age. In the future, though, she has broken me from ever wanting another puppy. In the future, and I won't have another dog until something happens to her. But the next one I get, that I get from the pound, will be an older dog. Maybe get one that's roughly 2 years old when I get it, so that we skip out on the puppy stage. Because of the 2 years I've had Daphne, man, I've spent, what is that, 365 days times 2. What was it, 730 days, if the sun's not frying my brain to where I can't do basic math. Of 730 days I've had Daphne, roughly, I've probably spent 687 of those days regretting my decision to get her, because she's been such a terror for most of it. It's really just been the last 2 or 3 months that she started to turn into a better dog. But hopefully we've turned the corner and continue to get better from here. She sure likes going after them squirrels though, man. And man, I'm telling you, she sits there and watches them and is ready to pounce when I'm opening that door. I'm actually going to have to get me a rug, because I got hardwood floors, and she takes off with such force out that door, she's scratching up my hardwoods. So I'm going to have to get a rug. Whenever I make my next trip to Walmart next month, a rug is on the list. And I hope that doesn't mess her up getting trapped. She'll probably dig into that rug and send it flying backwards when she takes off. But at least it'll protect the floors a little bit. I'll be damned, look right here, this right rod got hit. Well, we can't focus on it because this one got hit. The other one was just a distraction. Something bumped that line though. This one here's definitely been the, oh, did he, okay. Well, he's still on. He was coming at me. I thought he spit it. He turned and come back. You can see the wake out there where he's at, man. He's a hitting it and a getting it, buddy. You just go where you want to, fish. You go in that direction, ain't no other lines for you to get in. Of course, that one fish did get me in something over there earlier and popped the hook. Might be a stump or a tree or something over there. He's headed to the shore, buddy. He said he wanted to be landed up there on solid ground. This is his only chance to get up there. I guess a fish going to shore is like us humans going to outer space. It's not something they ever get to do. Man, he's went directly behind me over here, y'all. I'm trying to turn him, I can't. My power pole just give too on the left. Goodness gracious, he is going all the way around. I can't get him to turn. I guess we're gonna turn this way. We got this limb here behind us. Okay, now he's turning. Oh, he's coming right up this way. Don't go under the kayak. He went under the kayak. Boy, this fish is out of control, man. Now he's around the power pole. Man, this fish is just, he has done what he wanted to do, buddy. It's a carp. I still ain't got a good look at him to see how big he is. I think it's gonna be a pretty good one. Yeah, that's a pretty good one right there, man. That's a good one. How about that? We've got some good quality fish today. Okay, let's see if we can get the net over here. That's a good one, man. We'll just go ahead and net him on this side. He done so good staying to the left, and then he gets over here and goes all the way around us, gets into everything. Got him. Got him on the first try with that net. That's a good one, man. He's solid. Oh, man, y'all. That's a good one. That is awesome. Y'all check that out right there, man. Love it. We've had some action today, buddy. Where you hooked at here, carp? Let's see what we can do with it. Let's see if we can have that back, please, and thank you, sir. Easy peasy, I like it, man. We got that fish, netted him on the first attempt. Got the hook out, he laid there easy peasy. Will I be able to hold him up? Let's find out. Let's see if he'll let me hold him up here. Oh, okay, look at that. Man, that's another solid fish, buddy. I'm telling you, man, when you can come out here and get fish this size in the shallow water, I mean, you saw the kind of fight. This is fun times. This is really fun. I honestly don't know why more people don't do this. It's a culture thing. I was the same way for a long time. But I mean, if you can't get into this, you probably shouldn't be fishing. I know they're trash fish, supposedly, but you can call me the trash man because I like them. And I like the buffalo too. Even though the buffalo don't fight as hard as that one, they're still fun to catch. Look at that net though. That's from all that buffalo slime there earlier. I mean, them dang slime all over that thing. You leave a net like this with all that slime on it, you leave that in your car and let it bake in the sun out here in these summer months, you'll regret it. You won't get your wife or your girlfriend in that car for a long time after that. If you don't want her riding with you, leave a net like that in the dang car. Pulled my power poles free here. Let me see what I can do with that. Okay. Y'all, I tell you what, man, though, we're out here at this miserable, it's miserable hot. It's just getting worse. That's a pretty good way to end the video, in my opinion. That's a dang good fish to go out on. I think I'm gonna call it quits. I think I'm gonna reel in these other two and go to the house, man. It's hot. I feel like my insides are starting to bake a little bit. It's like a sauna, man. If there was a hint of a breeze at all, I'd ride it out here a little bit longer because I mean we got more worms. Obviously, we got enough pack bait there to rebait a few more times. But I mean, it's just flat calm still out here. And that's how it is, man. You get out here in these summer months where you would kill to have a little bit of a breeze, you won't get nothing. In the wintertime when it's freezing cold and you're like, man, the wind, please just stop. It'll crank and crank and crank. But I think that's it. Unless one of these two rods go down here in the next minute or two before I can get them reeled in, I think I'm out of here, y'all. I'm gonna call this day a win. I feel like I've redeemed myself from my Ohio trip, which I really not only stunk it up for carp, but also catfish too. It just didn't. My Sandusky Bay trip went okay, but it's honestly, there's so many channel cats in Sandusky Bay, it's hard not to do well on whatever you try out there, you're gonna catch fish. But Hoover catfishing didn't go well. The carp fishing blanked, I mean, zero, nothing. So today was nice to come back out here, get some redemption. I had hoped to find the buffalo bite on like it was that last carp video from here, but we got a few, but I mean, it wasn't like that last trip. But either way, it's been a good day, y'all. Thanks for coming fishing with me, especially if you've stuck it out this long. Thanks for riding it out with me. And yeah, we'll do it again soon. I'm gonna try to go tomorrow early morning and try to get some catfish bait and then hit the catfish. The day, we'll see. Bait's been a little bit tough lately, but if I can get some tomorrow, I'll try to go catfishing the next day. But either way, we'll be fishing together again soon if you show back up. So I'll see you then.